There's a funny bug in it feels like every game engine out there where if you alt tab too early, the game fails to get a handle to some graphics handler or like a window context, and it dies. I don't know why. I actually don't know why this always happens. It's consistently reproducible across games of multiple engines. I've been able to do it for games that are built on Unreal Engine. I've been able to do it on, especially on games that are built on Unity. That one crashes my graphics driver. I don't know why. I've been able to do it with this one, a game built on Godot, or Godot. I don't know. I'm gonna call it Godot because it sounds cooler. Godot. Welcome, chat, to the Roottrees are dead. Welcome. I see you found the new meatball emote. That's right, we have a new meatball emote, inspired by the meatballs on my desk that I keep warm, and I heat up by rubbing my hands, get some friction. I rub my hands really fast, get some friction. Touch the meatball. It's like a raw ground beef in a bowl, and I heat up the outside. I do it enough times that it heats up fully, and then I eat it. We're playing the Roottrees are dead. What a great intro. You go in. I go on a rant about meatballs and friction, and we just go straight into a game about trying to solve some mystery of like who's having sex with who. Now, last time we left off in this game, we did actually a fair amount. We actually got a whole bunch done, okay? What's funny is that my revelation in the shower told me nothing. My shower revelation told me nothing at all. All I understood really fully from my revelation in the shower was that grandma has a bit of a lisp, and we didn't really get much info from that. Why is there another thing here? Why is there like a symbol there? But we did, however, get a couple of names, specifically, David Fellows, aka 5Ps. We got the children, Christine Farrow, which I found out her real name. But presumably she's still a secretary. Or at least that was her last job. We got Lang Xin Yu, the CEO, as well as her daughter, Lang Min. We got her. I don't know what her job is. It's kind of impossible to figure out. Got Suarez Edson. I don't know what is her job. For sure she's a news anchor, just like her son. And we also have probably narrowed down that this is going to be Lang Xin Yao and Han Junwei. So presumably the first child, Mark, is over here, and then they have a second hidden child that we don't know about. So we have to figure out who the second child is. And I figured, and I kind of thought to myself that it's probably going to be Miracle with the Roottrees storage, as like a sort of a way to bash on him because I hate him. But that's sort of not a good idea. This has led us nowhere last time, so we need to figure out how to continue down this street. Okay. What's crazy is that this whole family is massive. So all these people get into the clans of trust. Our retirement money is gone, chat. Okay? Chat, okay, think about this. If you had a grandfather who was going to die, and he was going to split $1 million across your family, and actually this happened to my family. Well, not like $1 million, but like, he split like a bunch of land. My family actually opted out of it, because there was an ongoing family conflict, to the point where like it was getting pretty violent actually, and so my dad, he was like, okay, we're opting out of this. We're not doing this. He's like, of all the things that the family can do, the clan can handle it, and we're gonna be over here, okay? So it was sort of like, yeah, we just kind of opted out of that. But it was interesting to sort of think about, because again, back then in Vietnam, like, you just had land because you just happened to be there, because there wasn't really much of a government structure in like many different places, and so there was like many free-for-all moments, and like the land was just a place where like a small hut was like built on out of like sheet. Usually, actually, most of the time it was built out of like wood, like just like or like leftover reeds and like stuff, so the rain would still soak through, which still happens today actually. But then they were fighting over that small piece of land, so yeah, it was pretty interesting. And then, but imagine that. Like, I would probably have fought for that, right? Not for the land, but like, if I'm in the clans of trust, and I know that all of these people are gonna get like a hand inside of it, I would go Luigi on every single one of these people. I go boom, 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 boom. And then, Carl probably got like boom too, because I bet you, I still think Carl was killed. I actually had this thought. I had a revelation. Pretty sure Carl was killed. Think about it. They know that the money is going to disappear, and Carl probably was going to be helping with this stuff. Because think about it. Carl ended up helping Stephanie Jones. At least that's what I think Carolyn Morden was like hinting at, was that Carl was sort of changing his mind on things. And he also helped Deborah Bean and Madsen nickel, right? So the beans were raised properly with money. Presumably, he was going to do the same with all these sort of like offshoot children of like people, and so we would have probably seen a level of discordance that probably somebody wanted to keep under wraps, and so he's probably murdered. Anyways, yeah, that's what happened since last time. Welcome to today's session of this. We're gonna be going at this for a couple hours. Again, there's no programming today because I'm tired of programming. I just need a small break, okay? Last time we were doing this, we found a bunch of things, and we also got this really cool document that basically tells us who worked where, and when. This helps us cross-check a lot of different names, which is very helpful. So we know the original names of Pharaoh, of the other, of like Nicole. What's her name? Her first name? What's her? Of Joanna Robertson, the way she stares longingly at Guy Hudson. We have a lot of different ways that we can do this now. So. But we need to keep going because we actually haven't gone through the entire list yet. The problem is I don't remember where we stopped. Anyway, yeah, so we got to here. We saw that she's no longer working here. Christine Garland is no longer working for Roottrees by this point. Something Zimmer, yeah. Juliet McCullen and Doris Mays are no longer employed by Roottrees. Beatrice Watts and Corinne Schwartz. There's also this other person that we know of. Guy Hudson has a mistress named Susie. And I think I wrote this down within the... where is my game theory page? Where's my game theory page? To-do list. Well, I guess there's a to-do list. Here. So I speculated that Susie is either the final affair or the secret portfolio because of her sort of strange disappearance. Like she hasn't come back ever since, right? We know about Guy Hudson's wife, who we know is sort of a fake wife. Where's Guy Hudson? And we also know a lot about, these other characters, people. And we know about the fact that this is going to be Lang Xin Yao. So they're not over here, which means Susie is probably going to be over here. Because we know that that's his mistress from what Cecily said. But we don't know who she is. So today, we're going to try to figure out the Lang Xin Yao side of the family. We're going to figure out who Susie is. And we're going to see if we can get moving on towards with the Beth Williams and Elias Roottrees angle of things. You have your final conclusion about KCD2. You finished the whole game. Good game, shit gameplay. Yeah, that's how I felt with the first game. Okay, KCD2. Not that it was a bad game, but when I was playing the first one, I had this like market feeling of it has potential, but it has like a million different mechanics that don't really matter. It felt a lot like The Witcher 3, where it has potential, and then a lot of the mechanics just don't matter. But I will say the combat in KCD2 slaps The Witcher 3's combat out of the park. Okay, I know you kind of hate that it is slower, and I do wish it was kind of faster paced at times too. But I really enjoyed the complexity. Though I will say at some point it kind of becomes less about the complexity. Like it's not really the hardest game to play. It's just a lot of like complex gameplay elements that you need to figure out how to utilize well. And it's not really much of a combat system necessarily because the enemies don't really react well, but for the most part, it works pretty well within the early to mid game. That's what I felt like for the first game, and I was like, it feels okay. So I'm kind of sad to hear that it's roughly the same. You didn't finish it. You watched someone else finish it. You couldn't handle it. See? And people say streaming games is useless. Streaming games helps you figure out things. I actually did the same thing for Avowed. So when I was playing, when I was watching gameplay of Avowed, I changed my mind. I would maybe play it if I had extra time. Like if I had the time to handle like another 100-hour adventure game, I would play it because the gameplay actually looks more fun than whatever it was in Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds gameplay felt like I wanted just a better shooter, but it felt like Fallout where it's like I just want a better shooter. But I really liked the main quest story design, and I really liked some of the side quest story design. Most of the side quests felt very shallow or flat, but some of the side quests were fantastic. Like especially with the main, I think it's like the main quest. Like the beginning 20 hours of the game is fantastic. And as far as I can see from Avowed, the gameplay is actually pretty complex, so it seems interesting to play with. It's not like super hard to play, but it seems fun. And it has similar level of writing. And it's on the Games Pass, so you can get it for like $5, so it's pretty good. You really didn't feel like you missed anything by not finishing it yourself. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, I feel like a lot of games... And this is probably an argument against streaming. And it's why some games don't allow you to stream it. Like, you know that game... the something society, something something, the cultist society, the mythology society, the secret society, no, not Firewatch. Though Firewatch is one of them. It's one that we played recently. The Secret Society, the Myth Society, the Urban Myth Dissolution Center. That game has an embargo on streaming until April. So that's why I'm not playing it, even though it's out, because I really wanted to play it, but I saw that and I was like, I respect their decision. Because some games can really be played entirely by just watching somebody play it. Like this game, okay? Actually, no, this game, I think you miss out on the core aspect of this game by watching me play it. It's why it's why I used to say every single time, if you want to play this game, you should just leave and play it yourself. Because I feel like you should want to play this game and see how things are going to go down versus, and like try to figure out your own pathway through it. Because this is a game about your journey through to this knowledge. Like, you probably don't stutter. So you probably don't think about the way that your speech impediment affects the ways that you say things, right? But I am acutely aware of the fact that I can't say certain words. Like, I can't say this word. Here, look, I can't say this word. If I stutter at the wrong time, it's over. So, like, I'm acutely aware. Like, I avoid certain words because I know and I feel the stutter coming. Like, I can practice it in my head and I feel my brain locking up. And I think to myself, okay, we're not going to do that. But maybe you don't have that experience. So you never think about how Beth becomes Beth. Right? Like you never make that connection. So, you know, like, this game is about the journey. So games like this, I think it's interesting because, like, this is probably the most gameplay game I've played in a very long time, which is weird to say. It's a game that has gameplay that rivals other gameplay games. Like, this is a game a bit more than Elden Ring, where the act of playing it is the reason why you get it. Right? If that makes sense. Like, in Elden Ring, if you only care about the story, you can just watch someone play it. If you only care about, you know, somebody doing cool bosses, you can watch level 1 playthroughs. But this, you can't accurately describe the feeling of discovering and intuiting and uncovering information. You can't accurately convey this to another person because it is such a mental game. It is a mental type of game. It's a mental feeling that arises from the act of uncovering these things and the journey of going through the struggle and connecting these very disparate dots at times, right? And I think even within the first portion of the game, it was like that. But in this second portion, it shines like a diamond. It shines like a, well, maybe they don't like blood diamonds. It shines like an LED light bulb with like a 15,000 lumens, right? It's that good, and a game like this is more gameplay than many other types of games I've seen, right? But a game like Firewatch, right? Let's say you have a game like Firewatch. There is no gameplay. There is no choice. There is no journey. There's no discovery. It is a railroad experience that you could read in a book instead. It's actually, in many ways, the ultimate form of storytelling, but not the ultimate form of game. This feels like one of the better mixes of gameplay and storytelling, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of games will be too much gameplay, not enough story. A lot of games will be too much story, not enough gameplay. In a way, this is a very nice balance of the two. It's not like crazy fast-paced gameplay. Like, maybe you could go even further with the gameplay, with like a more sci-fi setting, with like, you know, like a CSI style thing. But it's one of the few games that I've seen that has a complete gelling between story and gameplay, right? It's a bit, in a way, like mouthwashing, where mouthwashing has this like really, really effective gelling between gameplay and storytelling that you miss out by simply watching somebody play it, because it's the experience of experiencing those things and having everything dawn on you that makes you go, oh shit, you know what I mean? This is very similar to that, where sure, you can watch and you get like, you know, the same results, but because you don't go through the journey and the effort and like the toil and the struggle, you lose something from it, right? But Firewatch, Urban Myth Dissolution Center, I feel like these games, the reason why they have these embargoes is because they end up being sort of the same thing, right? And KCD 2 is sort of the same thing too. I mean, Skyrim was for me too. I finished Skyrim once, and then for all the side quests, I was like, I'll just watch someone do it. You know, like these games are very long. But then you have games like, at least so I've heard, Outer Wilds, as well as Disco Elysium Disco. We're gonna play those soon, like very, very soon. I just need to finish Road Warden. Think of a game like Road Warden, where you think you play, like watching someone play is the same thing. It's like, no, like that's my journey. That's my journey that we're still going through. And that's a journey that you can't replicate because you weren't there to feel the feelings. Right? Maybe you felt the feelings on a third hand, but because you can't choose, you disconnect from it. By playing these things and getting into the feeling of it, you really start to own yourself and this feeling of immersion, and you start to own that, and all of a sudden you have this like high level of linkage with what you're doing. It's very fascinating. Like some games really nail this like gelling between gameplay, story, and the interface with the players so well that you kind of forget that you're playing a game. Like I really do feel like my inheritance is going away. Like I feel like all my money is going away because I only got paid in stocks, right? So if all these people get into the Clans of Trust, all my stocks are gone. So I need to build this board so I can like go and Luigi them. I need to get my money. Anyways, yeah, I totally agree with you. If you didn't understand the rant, TLDR, I agree with you. And I feel like in a way streaming is both good and bad, but it's also just like maybe a taste thing. Like some people will just always play a game and some people will never play a game. Like I probably will never play Avowed, not because I don't want to, but because I don't have time. Like it's like I have other games that I really enjoy that I want to get back into. Like this, Infra, Road Warden. Like I really want to finish these. And it's like, do I really want to go through Avowed too? Another 100-hour journey of a game that doesn't gel as well. At least from what I've seen, it like doesn't gel as well. It's like that thing of like ludonarrative distance where you have a game that's about making hard choices and like you need to think about your relationship with people, and then 5 seconds later you turn around and you shoot someone, right? It's like, and then you get like an EXP bar. It's like, does it really matter in the grand scheme of things of what I do, right? At least this game, the gameplay is actually entirely in service of the sort, and it works. But it's also written so well that it works. Orc massage. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna play Orc Massage, but I'm gonna do something even better. I have an idea. Before we play Orc Massage, what we're going to do is this. Wait, I need to pull up a diagram. Let me pull up a quick diagram. Shit. Oh no. I didn't install the plugin. Sorry, chat. Just give me a second. 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 I had to move some things around to make it work. So turn on community plugins, yeah. Turn on and reload. Okay, please, please. Please just let me download the plugins and let me see all the things that I want to see. Install. Installing plugin. Installing plugin. Enable. Enable. Okay, but just close this. Okay, full screen this. Okay, now we go over here. All right, now look at this. Before I play Orc Massage, why don't we do this, chat? Okay, so this is my computer monitor. Let's say this is my Maya monitor, okay? Like it's like a nice little monitor. Got a nice little base over here. Okay, that's my monitor, right? So all of you are on this monitor too, so say hi to yourself. This is like the Twitch chat over here. So you got like the Twitch chat over here. This is me, okay? And then here is the Orc Massage. So like the Orc Massage game is like this, right? It's like this. Like massive honkers, and it's like this. Right? So that's Orc Massage, right? What I want to do is I want to program a real massage table. With what, you know, those like fake dummies that people use for like fighting practice, right? So you get a giant thing like this, and you get one of those like fake dummies here. Training dummy. Amazon. Martial arts dummies. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Okay, thank you to whoever made this on Amazon. I appreciate you. So now we have this. Okay? I want to program this so that I can actually do real massage. So all you would need to install is like a I forget what it's called, but it's like a giant mesh thing that you can install, and it detects pressure, or like it detects contact. I think it's literally just a capacitative thing. And you just put this underneath it, right? So when I press down, let's say on like this angle, then the character moans, just like it would inside the real game. That's when we do orc massage. Sounds like a good startup. Honestly, think about this, okay? Think about this. Think of a startup. Oh, to be fair, I think VR chat has this cornered. There's a lot of companies within the VR chat space that do like sex stuff. So if you don't know, within VR chat, like ERP is a huge thing. We have many ERPers inside of my channel actually. So you don't know this, but look to your left. Now look to your right. Now look behind of you. Now look on the stage where I'm speaking. All of them, they ERP. Every single person, right? Every single person that you just saw ERPs. Many Europeans. Many Europeans. Yes, ERP stands for European. So if they ask you if you ERP, they're asking you if you're European, okay? So if you're from Europe, just say, yeah, I ERP. But yeah, so a lot of people ERP, and so apparently there's a lot of technology that's being built within the VR chat space for the ERP side of things. Which is interesting because you don't really expect that from the side of, you know, what's going on there. IEU Europe. Again, like just imagine that. You know what? Maybe we should. Maybe how about this? What? How about this? Even better. Even better idea, okay? When I play Orc Massage, I'm gonna make a server that you can connect your sex toy to. And so when I do the massage, you feel me pressing down on your butthole or something. Whatever your sex toy is. I'm a genius! Wait. Let me write this down. Wait. Community sex toy. Wait. It's currently going through some shifts. It's currently going through some shifts. I need to organize my notes. I'm combining all my notes into one vault and I need to hide it. Chat community sex toy. Server that connects to various sex toy APIs. When I play a game or something on stream that has physical elements, e.g. Orc Massage, viewers can connect their sex stories to it to get the same experience. Am I a genius? Yeah, exactly. Just like buttplug.io. Yeah. And like, but like, there's like tons of APIs for it. Like, there's whole tons of them. So I think to myself, it's not just the butt plugs. There's also ones for like the fleshlights. There's ones for like the like sex dolls. Like there's a lot. Can somebody get me in contact with Project Melody? I have $1 million idea for her channel and mine. She's already doing it, so I just like I can test this design on her channel, right? Because she has more viewers who are into this stuff, right? Here, there's only like one of you who are like who would be down for this, okay? Then, when it gets to the point of really solid stuff, I can port it over to my channel. So we live bug tested over on that channel. I need somebody who's in the adult space who's willing to, like, you know, be a guinea pig for my weird ideas here. 1978, Beaches Watson, Corinne Schwartz. POV, you go into the meeting and, like, you see a mysterious white powder underneath the nose of your engineer. They go on a rant about sex toys and APIs and how the service side the sex toy ecosystem is lacking. And then they start reading out their PowerPoints about, you know, the new architecture design for the new company HR system. So Christine Garland no longer works here. We got to the Beaches Watson, Corinne Schwartz are no longer hired. Juliet McCullen and Doris Mays are no longer employed by Roottrees. Lisa Lewis and Valerie Ewing were hired. Thomas sounds about right. Thomas Green, Michael Crane, Elizabeth Farrow, and Jack Keatings are no longer employed by Roottrees. So this is when she got fired. Who is Elizabeth Farrow? What? Wait. Christine Garland is no longer working for Roottrees, but Christine Garland is a Christine Roottrees. Christine Farrow is different from, to be fair, like how many people share the same last names where you're from, right? Like, I bet you most of you have a very common last name, and even a very common first name. Like, you're not that special, right? So presumably, whatever's going on in Pennsylvania, they have a lot of people named Farrow. I'm gonna keep that in mind next time I visit Pennsylvania. after the trade war in like 8 years. Emily Seinfeld and Sam Cattrall were hired. So Sam Cattrall was Sam Madsen. So because Sam married what? Sam Cattrall was hired. Madsen Gwyneth. Oh, that's her child's husband. What? So, Sam Cattrall was hired on the farm. Robert Logan is no longer employed by Roottrees. William Sam's hired. Susan Ford was hired under a special category that only existed for 1 year. We found Susie. Susan Ford is Susie. Hired under a special category that only existed for 1 year. 1979 lines up perfectly with the Piketty article when she said that Susie was like hitting her up. Mid 1981, months after I had moved on, he called me back and showed me a final draft. No thanks, the dinner wasn't good. He sent his mistress, Susie, something into the bathroom to proposition me. Poor girl, I remembered her from our trip overseas. She was too good for him. Anyway, he died soon after, and that was the last that ever came up. So, wait a minute. Susie came from the trip overseas. Where did they go overseas? So, where did they go after? So wait, the trip overseas... Complicated, I had an out. By 1989. 1981, this person was already here. Here we go. He invited me to join them when dealing with Roottrees, Brazil. Okay, so wait. Roottrees, Brazil was 1978. Summer. No? Wasn't that 1978 summer? Wait, chat, we're getting closer. Chat, we're getting really close here. At the beginning of 1979 was when Roottrees, Brazil was done. That's when she went overseas because she's in the States. So she remembered Susie from overseas, and Susie was hired in 1979 per company records, which means that she is Brazilian. I don't know why this helps me necessarily. But this is important, I think, because she's an interpreter. Susan Ford was hired on a special category that only existed for 1 year. Presumably this is the interpreter. So wait, so is this Susie? There's no way that this is Susie. Can this be Susie? I don't know if this is Susie. This feels like a stretch to say that this is Susie. Could be Susie. Could be the Susie that Cecily mentioned. Timeline also lines up given that Susie was sent to hit up Cecily mid 1981. The problem is that only for 1 year, 1979, 1981, that's like 2 years. So timing is still a little awkward, but presumably this does make sense. But it is like it's like a year and a half off. So it could be that he kept her on for sex, which is kind of crazy. Timeline is a little off because it implies that she was kept on post company interpreter for sex solely. Maybe, I don't know. But this could be the missing link, actually. So she's an interpreter, which is interesting. Why is she an interpreter? I guess she was for the trip. Presidential office refurbishment, $52,000. 5 pieces flavor development, $10,000. How much is $52,000 USD in 1978 inflation? It's $199,000. No, it's $251,000. So so Zach Morton is the CEO. During his time, no major expenses. He's very bearish. And then here's a bullish. And then Guy Hudson comes in and he has 2 major expenses. One, Beth Knox getting a 50-year work anniversary bonus and retirement party for Zach Morton. Which, this bonus, by the way, is crazy. 50-year work anniversary bonus in 1976 is equivalent to $288,000. Imagine working somewhere for 50 years and they give you $300,000 basically. That's nuts. I feel like that's a great workplace. Wow. And Zach gets retired and he only gets about 140K, let's say. Then the next year, guy spends all this money. He spends 100, 200 something $1,000 to renovate his office for some reason. $10,000 a month. There's 12 months in a year. This is a yearly report, starting in 1978 until the end of his term when he died in, I think, 1981 or something. So every single month he was developing this thing costed $10,000, which is about, holy shit, $55,000. My brother in Christ, I can make a flavored chocolate right now. Go to your grocery store. You want fancy? Pick up saffron. You want basic? Pick up vanilla. Get some, plain chocolate. No flavoring, just pure chocolate bar. Melt that in a metal container with boiling hot water underneath, so that you melt it but you don't mix it with the chocolate. Put in your flavorings, mix it up, pour it into your little containers, and you've got yourself a nice, beautiful, delicious chocolate flavor for the price of whatever your grocery trip was. You don't need this much money to make this. Edward Roottrees retirement party. I don't know who Edward is, but I imagine he's probably very important. He became somebody here. Who is Edward? Oh wait, he was a lawyer. The lawyer. Christmas tree bash in 1978. New Year's Eve ball 1978. That's crazy. Travel expenses to Australia, China, France, and Brazil. $190,000. Okay, 190,000 USD. In 1979, accounting for inflation, today would be $635,000 at $963.50. Holy moly, ravioli. Butterscotch? Wait, 5 pieces flavor development butterscotch. 5 pieces flavor development caviar. I don't think we've ever heard of 5 pieces butterscotch. We've never read about that. Wait. Where's my green screen? Hey. There we go. Butterscotch. 5 pieces butterscotch. Maybe it was. Oh, you know what? We can use this new feature. So once again, the YouTube commenters coming in clutch. Thank you very, very, very much. There is a button, here we go, show archived evidence, which allows us to flip between the current game's evidence and the last game's evidence. So, they're very handy to look at things like flavors. For instance, we can see that there's no butterscotch. There's grape, elderberry, cinnamon extract, melon, and miracle berry. Wait a minute. Oh my god. Where's Guy? Where's Guy Hudson? Oh my god. Butterscotch. Caviar. So, the 5 pieces initially were made in reference to the names of the children, right? Like, the 5 names of the candies were named after the kids. The initials of every child. Which implies, in a way, that there could be a possibility that because Guy Hudson wanted to be the second coming of Elias Roottree, the patriarch, and he also likened himself to Mr. Rogers, which is, I think, that's an insult to Mr. Rogers. But in doing so, he probably also has their same idiosyncrasy. So the idea of wanting to name the flavors after the children could be fascinating to think about, because it means that there's a child with the first letter of their name being B, like Butters, like Butters from Family Guy, like Butters from Family Guy. I put this in. Game theory. Guy Hudson wants to be Elias Roottree so bad. 5 pieces was named after the first 5 kids. So maybe he's doing the same thing here, and he has a secret child named Butters. This could all just be a joke towards Family Guy, in the same way that there's like a Jerry Seinfeld secret here. Like if you go like Jerry and then you go like Seinfeld, it just plays the music. There's a very good chance that this is all just the same thing, but for sorry, not Family Guy, South Park. Okay, so next page. 1980 to 1981, the volatility continued. Many new employees didn't stand to stick around very long. Terry O'Connor was hired. Susan Ford was moved to office staff, so she did stay in 1981. She did stay. That's why she was able to stay for so long, even post 1981. I think we found her then. Her move to office staff explains why she was there in 1981. It's like the song by Storm Earth, by Wind, Earth and Fire or something, or like Wind, Earth and Rock. September. Douglas Rosenberg is no longer employed by Roottrees. Also, where's my to-do list? So that's probably done. Who is guys Mr. Susie? I still think there's a good chance that she is technically this. That she's technically the secret, person inside the portfolio. And she's secretly the wife that he always wanted but he never could have, Edward Morrison and Robert Andrews were hired. Edward Morrison is no longer employed by Roottrees. Jesus, this is... it's just like my contract. You show up and you disappear. Green, Schwartz, and Beatrice Watts are no longer employed by Roottrees. Damn, they just got hired too. Linda Lewis and Angela Ingram. Angela, really. Lisa Lewis and Valerie Owing are no longer employed by Roottrees. That's crazy. Catherine Garrett was hired. William Sams is no longer employed by Roottrees. Emily Seinfeld is no longer employed, but then Emily Barnes is now listed. Emily Seinfeld. That's a Blair Funny song. So now Emily Seinfeld is now Emily Barnes. Gwyneth Madsen is no longer employed, but Gwyneth Cattrall is now listed. Is that how they actually do name changes in companies? Like, is that how it works? Let's say I get married and my name changes, right? Do they fire me and then rehire me to make the name change? That seems stupid. Like, there's no system to update. Like, the database doesn't have like an update operation, or... Susan Ford no longer works in this department, so she's hired on as office staff. And now she's no longer an interpreter. So this is... Presumably, she's still office staff by this point, but I'll note this just in case. Presumably... Still on office staff. How many times have I used the word presumably? Theoretically, presumably... You know people who say that? I've made fun of them before, but now I am them. It's people who aren't confident in their choices, but they want to have an air of confidence, so they want to seem like they're right, but they tiptoe that line between right and being wrong so that they're not emotionally hurt, right? Because emotionally, I'm afraid of being hurt. And so, really, they're weak. I'm weak. Really, I'm weak. So really, when you see somebody say theoretically or presumably, shame them. Shame them publicly. Shame them immediately. Shame them relentlessly. Shame them mercilessly. Because they need to know that to reap the rewards of life and to reap the rewards of who they are and to reap the efforts of their labor, they must put themselves out there. But they must be humble when they're wrong. They must be willing to learn and be a student again once they're wrong. But they must be willing to lead the way when they're right. Because you know what's crazy? It's because most of you are like mid-20s to late like 30s, right? Think about this. When we were young, we looked up to people and we said, you were the subject matter expert. You go to your doctor, you know medicine. You're the subject matter expert in my healthcare. You look at your parents, maybe they took care of you, maybe they didn't. You're the subject matter expert in getting me food and wiping my asshole. Okay? You look at like your teacher and you go, you're the subject matter in teaching me things. And then you go into your first workplace and you start to learn from a mentor in your workplace. Maybe you don't, but who really knows? But you have targets to like aim for. And you think to yourself, wow, all the people that are up there, they are the subject matter experts. But the moment that you joined the company, the moment that you became somebody, you, right now, in this moment, in this space, you're the subject matter expert of whatever it is that you're doing. People look up to you. So you can't fail. You need to know what you're doing. You need to have confidence. And you need to push through with your ideas. You need to understand when you're wrong and when you're right. But when you're right, you gotta speak up about it. Sorry. Holy shit, he's got a lot of kids, man. Okay, let's assume that this is all the names of his children, right? If we continue the theory, he's got named a child Strawberry. What is a Zigua? Zigua. Shigua. Oh, Shigua. Wait, how to pronounce... What? YouTube.com, Julian Mickle, how to pronounce Shigua. It's watermelon.
You are looking at Julian's pronunciation guide.
I don't know if I trust this guy to pronounce Chinese words. Just not to say that, like, maybe he's better than me, but like, he's not Chinese. He's not Chinese.
You are looking at Julian's pronunciation guide.
You can hear that he's not Chinese.
Look at how to pronounce better some of the most mispronounced words. An interesting Chinese word.
Okay, you just get to the pronunciation. Xigua song. Here we go. Is a song? Xigua do re mi. What is this? What? What is this? Xigua do re mi. What is this? Oh, I could green screen this, chat. I could green screen this. Wait. I could green screen this. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. What a great green screen opportunity. This could be anything. It could be Arby's. It could be this could be anything. We could do anything with this. We have so many options, chat. Cursed. Wait, you don't like watermelon? The watermelon song? You don't like it? Look, we can do some more green screen. Get back to the green screen. Yamcha? It could be Yamcha? Yamcha being POV, you're Yamcha and you've just been crushed by two massive melons. Okay, we have to move on. We can't keep doing this. The more that we do this, the more that everything falls apart. Not gonna lie, watermelon is C-tier fruit or berry. Well, whatever it is. What? That's because you live in Finland. You don't know what good watermelon tastes like. Good watermelon is life-changing. You get like a really good watermelon, that shit, it slaps. You know what you need to get? You need to get winter melon. That's what you get over in, like, you know, cold places. Honey melon is better. Okay, I do agree. I'm a big fan of honey melon. It's cantaloupe, right? Basically. Or is that so many different melons? Cantaloupe or is it honey melon? Honeydew, that's the one. Okay, yeah. I do agree that honey melon is really good. Every time I go to get like a drink, I always go for honeydew drink over whatchamacallit, because I feel like it just tastes better overall compared to watermelon. So watermelon flavor. So presumably, this isn't to enter the market. This is the name of his child, which I think was correct. Although her name is Lang Min. Wait, Lang Xinyu. Lang Xinyu S. Joanna. Okay, my theory is falling apart. Suarez. Wait, no, but C was for caviar. Wait, C? Christine? Caviar? Caviar? Shigua. And Sonia. See, get it? Oh my god, he's so perverse. I get it now. Chat, it's a perversion. I get Guy Hudson's personality trait now. He wants to be like Elias, right? So he wants to make his own 5 pieces flavors. But unlike Elias, who cared about and tried to put on the airs of being a family man. So he named the candy after his family, right? That's sort of his fake part of him. Guy doesn't care about that. Guy only cares about sex. And so what does Guy do? Well, he takes whatever that was and perverts it to become the names of his sex partners. Strawberry, Sonia, Shigua, Shinyu, Butterscotch. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But Butterscotch? That was kind of hard. J is kind of hard too. But Caviar, Christine. If we take this into account, I think this is correct. I think this is accurate. Not only does it fit the markets, because Shigua would have been sold over in Roottrees, China, it also fits with what he sort of like wants to do with the perversion of. My life is over. My life is actually over. What do you do? Why would you do this to me? Why is there a limit in a game? Like, did my detective run out of notebook paper? What happened? Did he run out of paper in his notebook? Let me go to like the 1979's. Let me go to the 1989's Walmart and pick up some new paper. How is this possible? What do I do? What do I do? So I need to make a second page for him? I don't know. What's like the Predator 2? Aliens versus Predator. Okay, this is the sequel. So Aliens versus Predator goes over here. We're gonna do over here now. Damn! What? I thought it was... What? I read in the memory. Sorry, you have no more memory available to write your notes. If you write any more, everything will blow up. So don't do that. Okay, so the Alien vs Predator. The hubris. Hubris. Oh, instead of Guy Hudson, it's Guy Hubris. There we go. Guy Hubris. Okay, Guy Hubris. Game theory. He wants to do this. Now look at the pattern of these. Look at this photograph. And every time it makes me laugh. All flavors match with their locales, sort of. So like caviar for the US, because like, it's the idea of them believing in American superiority. Butterscotch for, I don't know where the butterscotch goes. But more importantly, this points to a perversion. He wants to be like Elias, but doesn't care about family, only sex. Only his own pleasure. So instead, the first letters of each flavor correspond to the first letters of each of his conquests, right? He probably is what I theorize he feels them as. So if I look at this, so caviar equal Christine, Shigua equal Xinyao plus Xinyu, strawberry equals, I don't know. Oh, Sonia, butterscotch equals no clue. Robin Martin? I think no, not Robin. Wait, what was the guy from France's name? The one that fell apart. Maybe he started it in advance of the France. So he was like, I'm gonna sex them. And so he believed that they would say yes. But in the end, okay, don't look at her armpit. That's actually lewd. You got chicken jerky, 5 out of 10. Okay, you know what's crazy? I think the only good chicken jerky I've ever had is there's a Vietnamese version of it. You need to get the Vietnamese version where it has like a green leaf and some peppers in it. And the flavor, it's like nice and coated and like glazed. The problem is it's basically impossible to import because it only ships through Russia at the moment. And otherwise you have to go to Vietnam and carry it with you in your carry-on, and you have to explain why you're bringing in like pounds of chicken jerky. Like, it's very hard to get chicken jerky. But if you can get your hands on it from any Vietnamese sort of like warehouse person around you, or like importer around you, it's really good. Comes in like silver bags. It's really tasty. It's so good. Oh, I love chicken jerky. But yeah, otherwise beef jerky is the better jerky, or like fish jerky. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the names, right? I need to know the name of France. Where's the name of France? Oh, Roottrees everywhere. Guy hubris. Roottrees. France was the one that failed. Guy Hudson cucked Tristan and Robert and made him so mad that he dropped the deal. What about octopus? That sounds disgusting. What do you mean What do you mean octopus jerky? What? Octopus jerky. Oh, no. I take it back. No. This is really good. Yeah, sorry. Sorry. In my head, I don't think of like this being octopus. Like, cause like, you know what it is? I know the Vietnamese name, but I never call it by its English name. So when I hear the English name, I go ugh. But when I hear the Vietnamese name, I go ooh. I have this now actually. It's like right here with me. I have this plus the cuttlefish one. I have both the shredded version and like the whole version. They're so good. And the best part is you can chew on it for a long time, and unlike gum, it keeps its a flavor. I like to chew on mine until it's all just particles in my mouth. I like to get my saliva up in there and just let it all melt down all over the place. Show her armpit. There we go. So, Roottrees, France, negotiations broke down. Tristan Robert. So Tristan Robert, what's the name of his wife? Guy, the president of Roottrees, was one of the worst men I've ever met. He approached my wife about having an affair, which she refused. He then kept insisting that this was the best way to celebrate the honor of a business contract. I don't think he expected to say no. What is your wife's name? What's your wife's name? Get your wife's name in my mouth. Get your wife's name in my mouth. Now. We're never gonna find. Are you in Teen Blast? Are you in Teen Blast? Whoa. On this issue of Teen Blast, we have a new. Okay. So that's a good information. I don't know what the name of his wife is, but presumably that would matter. So we have the 5 flavors, or like many flavors. This is almost 5 of them, but he probably will go further, okay? So there's even more development on it. Christmas tree bash. What is the Christmas tree bash? The New Year's Eve ball. Roottrees. Oh, I bet you we can find it within Butler County Times. Roottrees. New Year's Eve ball. Okay, we can't find this. I was thinking maybe there's more information about these, but probably not. It's probably just an internal thing. 4th of July Spectacular. New Year's Eve Ball, 4th of July Spectacular. This guy spends a lot of money on these events, eh? Grandorf Dove. What? Grandorf Dove donation. $250,000. 250,000 USD in 1981 today. $618,000. Donate to me! The Grandorf School for the Deaf, formerly Grandorf Dove. Wow. What? For the deaf? Why did he donate to this? What? He doesn't care about people. He only cares about sex. Why does he care about this? What? This was during his tenure. He gave money to this. Oh. I bet you this wasn't him. I guarantee you this was a part of a deal that he had. That, like, because he strikes me, he's very sort of, he has this, he has this sort of, like, first off, he has orange hair, right? So, he has this, like, orange complexion to him, like an orange face and orange hair. And he has this, like, feeling of he makes the best deals. But, like, all of his deals are terrible deals, and in return, he only gets sex. But that's enough for him. Like, he reminds me of the type of person who's, like, you know, puts on orange tan. Like, because he looks like he has an orange face, orange hair, makes the best deals, says he loves making deals, makes the best deals of all time. You know what I mean? That's what he strikes me as. That's what he strikes me as. So presumably, one of the people that he, the sex thing with, presumably asked him to make this donation in exchange for that. So this and this. Game theory, one of the people who he was having sex with or exerting unwanted influence over was deaf and came from the school. He looks like he would be into crypto. Yeah. Hi, welcome to Hudson. Oh my god, chat. The entire board is green screen. Hi, welcome. And you know what it looks like? The green screen makes it look like shiny foil cards. Like, oh guys, I just pulled shiny Hudson. I just pulled my shiny Hudson card. Oh, I just pulled my shiny guy card. So cool. Yeah, he does look like he would be into crypto. But I feel like most of them do look like this. Like, here, look. He looks like he'd be into into crack, actually. He looks like he'd be into. Actually, he gives me David Suzuki vibes, where he wants to take care of the world. He looks like he's into crypto. Like, here, look. Here, look. This is crypto, bro. Oh, perfect. Oh, perfect. Yes. Okay, just do this. Give me a second. I need to crop this out. I need to crop these out. It's a very important look, and you'll understand as soon as you see it, because I think you will understand exactly where this is from, and you'll sort of understand the flavor that I'm trying to go for. Just give me a second. I'm opening up GIMP right now. You can't see me cropping it because I know how to do it well. New layer. There we go. Okay, quickly crop this. My chat is waiting. That guy looks like he would rug pull for sure. GIMP gang. There are two sides to my chat. That guy looks like he would rug pull for sure. GIMP gang. Do this. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. This is terrible. This is awful. Oh, yeah. Hey, man. Yeah, dude, I've got this new investment deal. Like, dude, it's 2025, bro. Like, what are you doing, man? Putting your money into basic traditional banks? Like, bro, do you even know what dividends are? Do you even know what margin is? Do you even know what arbitrage is, bro? Dude, I got something for you, okay? Look. I'm retiring next year, alright? Like, it's crazy, I know. Me and you graduated at the same time from school. I'm already retiring. How the hell did I manage that? Well, there's this really cool thing called Web3. It's like, no, don't do it. You're gonna go down. No, don't fall for it. What is the animal behind GIMP? Those are actually two sides of the same coin. We have one brain cell for the whole chat. The animal behind GIMP is this guy. And I want to show you the results of your one brain cell, chat. Where is he? It's a very specific look. Where is he? Trying to find the image. Give me a second. Scrolling. Scrolling. Searching. Searching. Image not found. Expanding search. Scrolling. Scrolling. 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 Image not found. Expanding. Scrolling. Scrolling. Image not found. Expanding search. Scrolling. Scrolling. Image not found. Expanding search. Scrolling. Where is it? No! I lost it. Sorry, chat. I lost the image. Unfortunately, it seems to have disappeared from my hard drive. The government's trying to... The government's trying to hide away from it and trying to make it so that I can't show you what's behind the real layers of Gimp Gang, but I'll give you something even better. I'll give you the Crypto Bro glasses. Here, Crypto Bro glasses.png. Crypto Bro glasses.png. Good. No compression. Do not save comments. Jesus Christ. Save defaults. Web3 Pog. Web3 Pog. Web3. Web3 mentioned. Invest in shitcoin. Invest in Litcoin. I'm already at Web 4. Pog! Losing it. Okay, Crypto Bro. Here we go. I know. All that effort for this one joke. I know. Like... Tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me that it doesn't work. You can't, because it works so well. It works... Now he's a crypto bro. Now he's a crypto bro. That's how you know that he's a crypto bro, because the glasses fit. Okay, now we need to check out Guy Hudson. We need to see if it fits onto Guy Hudson. Wait. No. Whoever the glasses, look. Whoever wears the glasses is a crypto. Whoever the glasses fits is a crypto. He's a crypto bro. He's 100%. He's 100% a crypto bro. Chat, the Crypto Bro glasses fit on Guy Hudson. It fits perfectly with his face. It even has the same angle, so it looks like it goes into his hair. Look. Look, he's gonna put on his like glasses, okay? It fits perfectly, chat. Okay, so Guy Hudson and Clark are Crypto Bros. Okay, Zach might not be a Crypto Bro. I need to flip it over. We'll see. Let's see how this works. Zach, are you a Crypto Bro? Zach might be a Crypto Bro, chat. Zach, I think, is also a Crypto Bro. Yeah, Zach is a Crypto Bro. No, Zach looks like he's trying to be a Crypto Bro, but he's not cool enough. You know what I mean? Like he tries to nail the look, but he doesn't have the confidence to. Because the way that the glasses fit makes him look like he's like lopsided, which is kind of funny. Now he looks like he would comment on Facebook. So true, though. He does look like... No, this guy looks like he comments on the Facebook. What about... oh, him. No. He's a cool. We know that he's cool. Elias looks like he would comment on the Facebook. He'd be like, kids these days don't know the value of hard work. And then he would be saying stuff like, oh, the water makes the frogs gay or something. That's what Elias sounds like to me. Asshole. Holy shit. Chat, Elias is the Crypto Bro. It all started from here. From the top to the bottom, it all started here. Wow. This is my best work yet. Like, genuinely, this is my best work yet. We found so much about the world. We know so much about this world now. We understand now what's going on in this life. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Cinema. We've discovered a new arcane secret about this game. The Grandorf School for the Deaf. Just okay, POV, your teacher went on a very long-winded rant after losing all of their money into buying shit coins like Dogecoin, and is now trying to get the class back on track. I should have bought all those coins and sold ASAP. The Grandorf School for the Deaf, formerly Grandorf Dove, is located about an hour from where the Roottrees office it used to be in Butler County, but it serves much of that part of Pennsylvania and nearby Ohio. What? Wow. According to the website, it was formerly named Grandorf Dove from 1923 to 1990 because Grandorf was the last name of the founder, and Dove is the Danish word for deaf. Wow. The founder had issues with government translators, leading to an odd transcription issue. Ah, hello chat, how are you? Are you ready for Monster Hunter Wilds? In 1990, it was renamed to better represent the school's purpose and to correct the embarrassing lack of effort and awareness demonstrated by the government officials in those early days. The staff is listed on the website. You scan through all the biographies and find that the principal, Miss Ford, is fluent in 5 languages, including ASL. I actually tried to learn ASL at some point. It's very hard. She's been working at the school for over 15 years. Miss Ford's bio also mentions that she's not deaf herself, but rather learned sign language to communicate with the deaf. It mentions that she was responsible for securing funding for the Hudson Wing. Hudson Wing. You're not ready for Monster Hunter Wilds, but emotionally, you are. Are you playing on day 1? I was thinking of holding off until day like 7. Sorry, chat. The bot isn't as good as we want it to be. It only starts at the beginning of a sentence. Rephrase that sentence with the meatball at the front. Here we go. So, expansion to the Grandorf Dove that is suspiciously... Wait, how come it doesn't work at the beginning? It's supposed to work at the beginning. Meatball. Hey, Nightbot. Meatball. Sorry, Nightbot just fell asleep for a bit. That suspiciously has the same name as Guy Hudson, okay, and was actually she was responsible for securing funding for the Hudson Wing in reference to a Miss Ford at the school, who is the principal. Wait a minute, who is the principal? You're not playing day 1. You got a lot of new content in WoW that you have to do. Oh, that's fair. You'll eventually pick it up, then grind to G rank one day. Yeah, that's fair. It's good too that the game is like, technically you don't miss anything by letting it sit for a bit, and like maybe the only thing that you do miss is the open world, but it's like basically party based, so it doesn't really matter. But for the most part, you don't really miss anything by letting it sit. I still think even now, Monster Hunter World is a great game to get into, because it's like, you're still at the point where the game is still fun. There was no real timed events, basically. Like, there were a few, but it was like, it didn't really give much. And but you still get the full gameplay experience, which I think is the most important piece of the entire thing. Wow, ew. I'll take my meatball back. Wow, ew is the best response. But also, look at this. Miss Ford. Who is Miss Ford? Think about this. Miss Ford, and what do we have over here? Susie something. Who's Susie something? Susan Ford! Woo! I'm a genius. I'm a goddamn genius. Okay, let's bring all this over. Guy Hubris. Okay, Guy Hubris. Guy Hubris. Guy Hubris. Guy Hubris. I know I do need to reorder this backwards again. Guy Hubris. Self-hate. I see. Honestly, I don't know a single WoW player that like likes themselves. Every WoW player that I've ever met has had self-confidence issues, has hated themselves, has wished that their life was different, has wished that they had different things in life, has felt like the world has like shunned them and turned them into El Monstro. Every single WoW player that I've ever met has felt like their life is already over before it's begun, and there's nothing really left in there. And I say to you, you're right. You're right. So true, streamer. You know what it is? It's just the perfect game to get lost in. So it's very, very easy to get lost in. Which is unfortunate, because I think it's like, realistically, I think you can engage with the game healthily. Very healthily. but it just takes a lot more effort to go at a healthy pace within the game that doesn't feel like you're losing everything to it. But then it's also a bit of a is there a single cap emote without the ah? We need to get that emote. Wait, cap. No cap. There is. It's half cap. Added. Okay, now cap is in. It's just because I think like the game, if you get deep into it, right, you end up losing so much time of your life to it that you have no time to improve your life. And then it's like an endless cycle and like a treadmill of you play the game, you spend all your time playing the game, you spend all your life, you know, being the WoW character doing these raids, but it really, in a way, it amounts to nothing. And that's why it's weird, in the way that it amounts to nothing. It's like, oh, it just doesn't really change anything. Even though it feels like maybe it does amount to something because you build relationships and stuff, but it's kind of weird the way that, you know, all that effort that you go through, all that skill that you build up kind of disappears. It's a bit like playing sports and not getting into a real sports team. Like if you play sports in like high school, for instance, and you're really good, but you never get to join like one of the major sports teams, and you just end up being like a bench warmer, or even worse, you don't even get to join at all. It feels a bit like that, where nothing really matters, and all those skills that you built up, it disappear, and you have like a 50% average, and then all your life is just over. All your life is just over. It's just over. But did you try to flip it? Did you try to flip the emote to form two halves, like a Tom Cruise thing? Okay. This is guaranteed to be Susie Ford, who got the funding for this wing in exchange for sexo, or maybe she was coerced. Not sure yet, but presumably this is why. Not to say that that's bad. I'm not saying that this is bad, but it's specifically the way that his pattern of behavior, the way that he takes advantage of people's desperate needs. That's what I mean by in exchange for sexo, or like the coercion. Like, he's the one doing the act of lording over these people and saying like, I can help you, but if you want the help, get down on your knees and suck me off, like, right? So that's what I think is happening here. So the Hudson Wing was an expansion to Grandorf Dove, now Grandorf School for the Deaf, first built in 1982. It's a separate, much smaller building, half a block from the main campus, and operates as a smaller independent school that offers free ASL courses for the family members, friends, and caretakers of deaf children. According to the history sites, they got their name after the president of the Roottrees company generously donated $250,000 towards the construction of the building. There's also a very vague history section that you can somewhat fill in with details from the other information you've seen about the school. It mentions that the donation came at the insistence of an employee of Roottrees at the time, Susie. aka Susan. It mentions that she learned ASL from the main school before the Hudson Wing even existed, to surprise her future husband who was deaf. Oh no. Oh no. Her future husband. Oh no. After realizing how useful a service like this could be to non-deaf people that wish to better serve those with hearing issues, she convinced Roottrees management to invest in the school. The Hudson Wing opened and she became the first new teacher at the new campus. At first it only operated on the weekends, but since then it has added afternoon classes on some weekdays. You see the problem? To some of you who have a warped idea and a warped perception of what it means to make a deal, right? Let's say you have orange hair and orange face paint, and so you believe that deals must be made in that particular way. The problem is that you don't need to give in order to get. There's no need to ask for this type of thing and to almost, in a way, coerce somebody to do this. Like, he could have just weighed the pros and cons of the donation by itself and not ask for anything in return like a true donation. But instead, Guy Hudson, in his twisted mind, in his twisted persona, with his twisted behavior, with his perverse rendition of the play that Elias Roottrees has himself written, decided that he must get something in return for everything. And that something is the only thing that he's ever really enjoyed in life. Not the money, not the power. No, all of that is just a tool to have sex. So she has a future husband. That's why she was the mistress. That's why she seemed apprehensive at the party. And that's why it was lucky that Guy Hudson died. But now it begs the question, what the hell is going on? So, okay, it mentions the donation came at the insistence. This 100% links the act. It links Susan and Guy together. She learned ASL from the main school. Surprise her future husband. This explains why she was hesitant at the party to proposition Cecily. And why Cecily mentioned that she was lucky that Guy died. Game theory, this brings up an interesting wrinkle. Okay, so how did Guy Hudson die? Guy Hudson hit a tree. Or he fell into a ditch, I don't know. But the key is that there was a drunk driver who swerved him off the road. What if that wasn't true? You know how, like I said before in the previous one of the episodes, I'm gonna call these episodes because I find it fun. It's calling these stream sessions episodes feels like it's hubris. It's hubris. But in one of the sessions, I mentioned how specifically conspiracy theories always have a nugget of truth in them. It's why they work so well and why they're so effective, right? They always start off with like an innocuous sort of true statement that has no bearing on anything, that doesn't really mean anything, and that can't be disproven either way, either because it doesn't have any proof against it, or simply because it is true and we know that it's true, right? So Guy Hudson died mysteriously, and they couldn't figure. Well, Guy Hudson died. They couldn't find the drunk driver. No one really knows beyond that. The conspiracy theory was that he was targeted, and then everyone said no, he wasn't targeted. But what if he was now? Because now there's an interaction. The deaf husband, Susie, and Guy. And not just that, multiple people Guy has been dealing with. Multiple people. This is not a one-off occurrence. He's already dealing with some pretty dangerous people, okay? Edson Suarez with ties to the Brazilian military coup at the time, okay? Lang Xinyu, Lang Hongbo, Lang Xinyao, you know, around this time, and again, the CCP is still in power, and so it's like they have sort of like ultimate control over, you know, many different things. Basically, it's hard to explain exactly what the system is because it's like a very socialist flavored capitalism, but basically the gist of it goes down into like it is in service of the greater good, and so they effectively have true power control over it. So presumably this could be like a hey, take this guy out. Christine, I don't think she would do it because she has 2 kids and she got the money, but I'm not sure. But 5 Ps. Could he have murdered? I don't think he would. All your problems, attention, your money Roottrees hypocrites, disturbing a sermon from a geezer who's never known hurt. This is about a miracle. But blurts out these claims to someone we're sinners, yep, because we didn't earn. So Miracle said this, like that Madsen chick and the 2 dads, my pappy's class of trust should keep you away. You say money is the root of all problems. Whoever calls the dollars the root of all evil. Okay, I'm assuming that it's not 5 Ps because there's actually a surprising trend of rappers who can't stop talking about their murders in their rap songs. Like it apparently got so bad that people had to like start telling other rappers stop rapping about your like murders. So, but it's still, there's a wrinkle of like there could be a chance where he was murdered. That Guy Hudson was murdered as the result of his stupid actions throughout the years. Not just with the Fords, but also with the other families too, who held some measure of power in their own domains. Again, it's like 1981, okay? Like, the forensics at the time is still nascent. We're still figuring things out. Presumably, it was much easier to kill someone back then. Much easier. Nowadays, it's pretty hard. Guy Hudson died in May of 1982. So the first few months of that year continued along the same pattern as they had been. Things quickly changed when Ernie took over. Most of the extraneous expenses ended, and all of the secretaries, most handpicked by Guy Hudson, were let go. Wow. And all of the secretaries were let go. So, okay, so when this implies Christine is no longer secretary, and might be the reason why Joanna has no role either, and had to be a cashier. Not that that's bad, but like at this time, it's like the earning differential is very different, so it's like it is kind of painful. This implies Christine is no longer secretary. Yeah, okay, so this also is probably when Susie switched over to the school. Okay. Sam Madsen left Roottrees in 1984, so this is the last of the books you have access to. Ernest Madsen replaces Guy Hudson because he died. Carl Roottrees joins as special management. Right, because then Ernie and Carl was learning under Ernie. Susie is gone. This makes sense. 1983, no change, no change. That guarantees that. Ernest Madsen Jr. no longer works in in product management because he's now leadership, and he was doing this for free because he wasn't a part of the. So Ernest Madsen wasn't a part of the Clancy Trust by this point. It's why Carl had to step in to take care of Deborah Bean. And really, this also does paint a bit of a picture, again, on Carl's POV, where maybe he was bad, just as bad as the rest of them, right? Because Carolyn Morden had to plead with him to be like, hey, please, we don't need to carry our problems to the new generation. In reference to supporting Stephanie Jones now, and her campaign, her political campaign, right? We know the family's racist because they did talk about how they went on and they would their rebellious phase, based on what Lauren said, was like going out and dating black people. So we know that the family was like racist. Presumably Carl was still bad, but the only reason why he helped Deborah, despite the fact that they came from like a bastard line, and which he probably was in many ways indoctrinated into that thinking, given that his relationship was probably really close with both his grandfather as well as his father, given what they do, implies that he only did it because Ernie helped him. So it was like a personal favor, and versus, which we know it was a personal favor, versus something that he believed was correct. So Carl could still have been murdered. It's looking for Douglas Rosenberg was rehired. Who is Douglas Rosenberg? Why was he rehired? First thought, okay, also remind me to search up the deaf school in the periodical. Angela Ingram, Linda Lewis, and Catherine Garrett are no longer employed by Roottrees. From here on out, no secretaries are directly employed by Roottrees. Roottrees instead used a temp agency called Work Time Temp. Oh. All secretaries come from here now. Is that bad though? Like, because secretaries, I've had this conversation with my wife of like, say I get rich, right, and I need a secretary, because like managing things is a little bit difficult by yourself. Like, there's a lot to sort of like keep track of, right? Having a second person that's helping you keep track of things is nice, but it's like then they're privy to some very complex information. Like, they're privy to, say, business deals that are going to happen that may not have been announced yet to the public. They're privy to, personalities that they may not necessarily should be talking about, right? But maybe even for, like, both of our safeties, right? Like, realistically, what you ideally want is a secretary who you know and trust. But the problem that they're pointing out here specifically is the fact that, like, everyone's been abusing the secretaries. Like, Guy Hudson has been abusing all of his secretaries. And presumably, Linda Lewis, Angela Ingram, and Catherine Garrett were also his other secretaries. It's a very complicated problem. Victor Logan was hired. Stuart Todd is no longer employed by Roottrees. Amy Sutton was hired. Sam Madsen is no longer employed, and this is when she left. Sugar plum. So we have a new flavor now. Okay, so 5 pieces development, sugar plum. This was cancelled after 5 months at a cost of 100,000 total. This one was actually $20,000 a month. I'm gonna note this as well because that's important. Yeah, because that's a very important note to have. This flavor is twice the amount of money being poured in for every other flavor. Why? But this also kind of makes sense. So, does it cost that much to make candy? Like, look at the relative scale of the expenses, right? 50-year work anniversary is like chump change. That's 50K. Zach Morton retirement party, 20K. That's like chump change, right? He throws parties at $7,000 each. He refurbishes his office for $52,000. His travel expenses are $190,000. And this is a pattern that continues all the way through. He donates it to presumably get the sexo for $250,000. So for $10,000, $20,000, why is it a monthly expense thing? And why hasn't it resulted in any flavor at all? I don't think these are flavors. Or rather, they were flavors, quote unquote, but it's based on the companies, right? Each of these dollars, or each of these are going to a different company in a different location that's making a different flavor. Roottrees China, Roottrees Brazil, but this one picked up in popularity after it was released in the States. Strawberry, I don't know where. Sugar plum, I don't know where. Butterscotch, I don't know where. We know that Roottrees Everywhere had multiple locations, but that every location also is tied with, because this is all a complex web, tied with his relationships with his business partners, right? I would say relationships because I use it in a very generic term. I think relationships has a connotation of being something positive, but you can have a negative relationship. And I think this is key to the experience, that he had a negative relationship with these people, not because they were negative to him, but because he was negative to them. And in doing so, probably had to pay back something, right? We know that he probably had to pay off some things. I'm assuming by this point, childcare and child support is a thing, and presumably to get these deals, he's fine having a bunch of sexual partners, and he's fine giving them chump change. My theory is that the amount of chump change that he throws towards these people is how much he cares to have sex with them. 10K a month? Alright, you get 10K a month and I get to have sex with you anytime. You drop everything, you fly in, I fuck you, and then you leave. And this might be a consistent pattern across the entire thing. There's 4 companies that we know of. One was going to be France, but presumably that one failed, so maybe it didn't work. But we also know that he has we don't really know his success rate either, and we know that there's people outside of it too. Like, say, what's her name? Joanna, as well as other people, like Christine, right? So not just the business owners themselves, they could be a part of the scheme too, if we assume that caviar is for this. Assuming that it's one of the earliest ones. And we know that Joanna wasn't well off. She was poor. If she was getting like chump change 10K every month, she would not have had to, her son and her would not have had the life that they had. So presumably, he only started maybe after Christine, because Christine was able to start their business even though they ran out of money, and the children were able to start their business. Lang Xinyu was able to run Roottrees China. Lang Xinyao and her husband, or ex-husband, Han Junwei, were able to go and make their thing over here. And then Sonia Suarez with Edson Suarez with Brazil were successful. He presumably started the payments after this point with Christine, and so 5Ps it probably ended up in this situation because he didn't really care. That was the first time that he did anything. Then he grew a taste for it, and then he realized he could use his power and influence to sort of exert and get that again over and over and over. This implies then that the 10K is chump change as almost like a support money, in the sense of I pay you, you have sex with you, and then you have sex with me, and that the 20K a month implies that the 20K implies that this is more important than the other relationships in his mind. Sugar Plum actually correlates specifically with Susan. So it may be that he preferred Susan more than anyone else, which is interesting. Is that part of the game, the green screen again? Yep. Yeah, no, it's not green screen. I just, I went to these like weird web links, and now I've got this like weird virus on my computer. So now there's this like weird image of the navel belly button hole. Yeah, honestly it's strange. I don't really know what happened, but there's a virus on my machine now. It's not green screen. But I think I'm correct about this one. I think we do. Okay, so this is probably for Susan Ford, and the increased amount probably implies how much more he enjoyed this relationship compared to the others. If assuming that this is payment for the continued sex mistress relationship, then presumably it makes sense why it's so much less than any other expenditure. Expenditure. I don't know how to spell it anymore. I don't know. Expenditure. Expenditure. You know, I was in a spelling bee. E.g., retirement party for Zach. Morden is 20k. 50-year work bonus is 50k. Company parties are 7.5k. Donation to the deaf is 250k. But product development and R&D is only 10k a month / 120k a year. This also explains why there's no flavor with J in it for Joanna Fellows, aka 5 P's mom. She and her son were both extremely poor and probably neglected entirely, and this is probably a part of why 5Ps is pushing for the Clancet Trust. Yeah, okay, so this is a good theory. I think there's a wrinkle of like, how did 5Ps know? But assuming the 5Ps didn't know, then maybe it still works out. I just think to myself, like, maybe it's that 5Ps didn't know at all. And so it just ended up happening that it mostly worked out in the end. So this makes sense. I think this makes sense. I think it makes sense. I don't know. What else do we do? Like, where do we go from here? Really, it's kind of the problem. Or like, there's a lot of ways that we could go from here, but does any of it matter compared to the bombshell that we have now, right? Maybe we just continue down the line of this bombshell that we have. This idea of like how much it costed. Root clothing reimbursement. Oh, right, because this was so the Root clothing thing. This was because Carl Roottree made this company by himself with his own money, and then they included it into the Clancet Trust, taking his profits and reimbursing him for his efforts. Fred Gleason. I think we have a reasonable amount of information about what to do here. The problem, we don't have a single angle for Lang Xinyao and Han Junwei. We have no angle. All we have is the school for like deaf people, children, kids. I don't know, but deaf something in Butler County Times. Here we go. The Grandorf Dub was a school for the deaf near Butler and was regularly listed in articles with the other schools. Wait, did they move all these up yet? Oops. This is probably for Susan Ford. So Susan Ford, probably for Susan Ford. We do have a couple things that we could search, but I don't think the things that we can search is going to lead us towards the Lang Xinyao angle. That one's really hard for me to figure out. I have no clue. We might just have to like Google search China as like a generic thing. But there's a temp agency too, though. Grand Dove was a school near, so this is also good. So actually, Roottrees uses temporary workers now. So all secretaries come from here now. Move these down here. Lies on the secretary. Susan Ford's no longer hired. Yep. Okay, game theory. This brings up a thing. Grandorf Dove in the Butler County Times. This is also the article within the thing, just so I have all the references. Was a school for the deaf near Butler and was regularly listed in articles with other local schools. The Butler County Times archives includes what seems like an endless list of snow cancellations, extracurricular activities, and the weekend events that began over 70 years ago, and such until the last mentioned in 1990. Amongst the avalanche of useless information, you almost miraculously discover one useful article. Grandorf Dove was at the center of a crime article from 1982. Wait a minute! 1982. When did Guy Hudson die? Was the president. He suddenly rose to prominence again. 5 Ps. The night he died in a car crash, the police said it was not foul play. Late 70s, early 80s. When did he die? When did he die? This does actually say when he died. So, Guy Hudson died in May of 1982. This is actually a huge piece of this puzzle. Holy cannoli. So, wait. Okay. You guys ready for some revelations of murder? Grandorf Dove was at the center of a crime article from 1982 when Guy Hudson died. Same year, it seems that someone defaced the school and vehicles outside of the brand new Hudson wing of the school. There were multiple broken windows, and one of the teacher's cars was painted with profanities and accusations of fidelity. I should have never added the meatball emote. What is this monster? The chat is using it like eyeballs. They're using the meatball emote as if it's eyeballs. How about this? Instead of the melange, I'm gonna cook like a really... How about this? I'm gonna make a giant meatball one day. I'm gonna put the... I'll glue googly eyes on it, and we'll use that as the melange, okay? And then I'll eat it, because I don't want to throw away food. A few weeks later, a follow-up article provides more details. There was one arrest. Thomas Hughes, who was coincidentally a former student at the school. Apparently, the destruction came weeks after he married the school's newest teacher. Ew. Oh, Mrs. Hughes. She was not a teacher when he went. He graduated a few years earlier. I was kind of worried if this was going to be... You know, my grade 9 high school, actually, one of the teachers got pregnant from one of the students. It was like a huge scandal. And we were like, what the fuck? Like she basically, you know, that was just statutory rape. And I was like, this is disgusting. Damn, what's with the sultry jazz? Well, what is this game? Are you a detective? Yes, I am a detective. In fact, if you Google the name of the Roottrees Are Dead, you'll discover that this is a detective game. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a game about discovering what's going on with a genealogical tree. And you need to read through bits of evidence to find out who is who, and who goes where, and what they did, and sort of like piecing together the bits and pieces that fill the tree. Really, what's funny about this process, right? It's a bit like that kid that I mentioned who helped the police solve like a 50-year-old cold case. Like, the key is the genealogical tree. The key is the genealogical tree, but in the end, what these characters do doesn't matter to my character. My character just cares about the tree. My character is reading all this stuff just for the sake of being able to get information to fill the tree. But realistically, I don't think my character gives a shit about any of this. because my character is a detective and all they care about is getting paid, right? The tree is really what they care about because they're so into genealogical trees that in their room, they have one. A third-party one from the notorious Montjoys. Presumably, none of this really matters. Presumably. But yeah, that's the whole game. Thomas Hughes, according to the reporter's investigation into police reports, trials, and restraining orders, Mr. Hughes was convinced that he was not the father of Mrs. Hughes' current pregnancy. He was released on bail, and the school has agreed not to press criminal charges after an agreement was made to pay for the damages and for the couple to begin the divorce proceedings. It seems Thomas Hughes, Mrs. Hughes, and the Hudson Wing have all avoided further appearances in the Butler County Times. Okay, this puts a wrinkle in my Lang Xinyao thing because I think it's actually the Hughes. I don't think it's Lang Xinyao and Han Junwei, though they came over for the IVF. Because what did the article say? The article said that it happened 6 times. The fake IVF treatment, right? Lang Xinyu was probably the one who faked it, but Lang Xinyao probably actually got a real IVF procedure done. Her younger sister probably got the real thing, while she, because she was the business head, had to deal with Guy Hudson directly. Which means that hint about Lang Xinyao was a red herring, and it's actually about Mr. Hughes, Thomas Hughes. Problem is, who is Mrs. Hughes? You know what? Hudson Wing. We can search the Hudson Wing. This is hard. But it's also like, how does he know that it's not his child? Like, it could just be somebody who was angry and believed that it wasn't his child. I'm not really sure. Here we go. The full name. Grandorf School for the Deaf has made a few odd appearances here and there in the Butler County Times since 1990. Okay, here we go. So the full name leads to something else as well. So there's a lot of things here. Okay. Thomas Hughes. Thomas Hughes believes his child isn't his and vandalized the school the same year that Guy Hudson died. So, this is a very interesting point here. Same year that Guy Hudson died, 1982. Okay? And, Thomas Hughes. Guy Hudson died May of 1989, but then there's this article which probably goes into the crime. It's not too many that you can't look at all of them, and so after scrolling through a few pages, you manage to find something incredibly useful in an article that isn't even focused on the school itself. Local students provide key evidence in scientific study. What? The article from March of this year mentions that the Ford sisters who attend public school in Butler County are one of only a handful of identical twins in the world who suffer from 2 different genetic issues. One of them has asthma, and the other has a deadly allergy to peanuts. Their mother, a Miss Susie Ford, aka the principal of the nearby Grandorf School for the Deaf, was originally contacted by researchers looking to identify if there were any sets of twins where one was born deaf and the other was not. Could this be about her and not Thomas Hughes? Because twins would then solve this issue of 2 children, right? But what's her relationship with her husband? While she didn't have any twins attending the school, she asked if her daughters Melissa and Heather could be useful. That's a weird way of saying it, and it turns out they were. She says they couldn't be any more different. My youngest, we all call her that even though it's only by about 15 minutes, is shy but has essentially stopped running from the moment she learned to scamper. Asthma has kept her sister off the soccer field, but she's a definition of extrovert and is even performing in a local production of Is There Life After High School later this year. Is there really a life after high school, or do you just enter the workforce and life sucks? The article includes a picture of the girls added to your evidence. Okay. That's a lot. It could actually be Susan Ford. There's a very good chance it's Susan Ford. But the problem is I don't know her husband's name. That's really the key, is I have no clue what her husband's name is. But twins, and I'm assuming the way that they look probably is going to explain a lot. This photo accompanied an article about a scientific study in the Butler County Times. The four twins were used as part of a nationwide study of how allergies and other diseases affect twins differently. The twin on the left is holding an inhaler, and the twin on the right is holding an EpiPen. Huh. Is blindness congenital? Presumably, if it was congenital for one of the parents, it would be congenital for the children too. Sorry, deafness. But we don't know if her husband was deaf because of congenital issues, or if it's because of some accident. Like, he could just be deaf because of some accident, and so he has to learn to adapt to it alternatively, right? There's a possibility there that could have happened as well. This also actually paints a very different picture then. You know the person in the photo with the flower tattoo who I said was Cecily Sanchez? But if you look at her features, as well as here, and then you look at the kids, they're very shockingly similar. My theory is that because of the timeline, we know that Susie was his mistress and that she was by his side the whole time. She went from interpreter in Brazil over into being office staff and was hired as a secretary. That's why she was let go when Guy Hudson died, because they did a cleaning of the house. So Ernie Madsen Jr. did a cleaning of the entire house and fired all the secretaries who was hired in, right? Thus meaning that ultimately you're just left with the real people left. But this then implies that the person in the photo was not Cecily Sanchez. Like, sure, Cecily Sanchez was there with him, tailing him to get information for a book, but ultimately it's Susie who was there with him, being his sort of like working partner. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think that makes sense to me. So it's the working partner angle there with Susie, right? Cecily Sanchez is not the one in the photos. Really, this is what we should be doing. And also, the article has a weird phrase here where it's like, my youngest, even though she's only born by 15 minutes, is shy but essentially hasn't stopped running the moment. Asma has kept their soccer off the soccer field, but Asma is the older sister. So whoever has the inhaler is the older sister. Like, the reason why they give that age is because they have to somehow give information about who's older and who's younger. And it's not the game developer's fault. It's hard, but in doing so, they've accidentally implied through the game's mechanics that it fell apart. Basically, it falls apart here. It was a cool thread to think about, right? But because you have to know who's older than the other, the moment that you see references to that, unless they hide it very, very well, it becomes a very easy sort of like marker to look at and know immediately this is important information. And this person is one of the people that you need to have on the board, because otherwise why would they mention their age? So she's the younger sister, she's the older sister. EpiPen is older. The one on the right is older. Problem is they both look the same. But what are their names? So their names are Melissa and Heather. So if I go over here and I go over to here and I go over here, I kill last name and I do Melissa, Heather, and I go unknown, because we still don't know what their names are really. And they're this year, so they're students in K to 12. Students in K to 12. And then the one on the right in this, she's older, she's younger. This is Ford. This is Susan Ford. And we have pictures of Susan Ford. She's the one with the hand tattoo. So Susan Ford, she was a secretary, but now she's a principal. Problem is, I don't know if their kids are named Ford as well. She has a husband that we know nothing about. So, yeah, this is unknown. Unknown. Presumably, his name was last name Ford. Somebody Ford. And actually, I think I know how to find the person who's Ford. One, there's a report here that we need to actually check out, which is this. This article here. Probably find it online. Never mind. Local provides evidence in scientific study. Is there life after high school later this year? It seems like a high school in Butler County performed Is There Life After High School near the end of April 1999. The cast list mentions some names, including a Heather Ford. So we know that Melissa and Heather is correct. So Melissa, Heather, Ford means that her name is Susan Ford and her husband is named something Ford, which means that by this time she was already a Ford, which means if we look at the company records, I bet we can find her name. So we need to find somebody who's named Susan, and we need to see their last name change. Or their last name stays the same, we don't know. Guy Hudson, Patrick Decker, Eli, Christine Farrow, Joanna Fellows. This was the mother of 5Ps. She was let go. Christine Farrows is Christine Garland. John Miller is the husband of Edward Clancy. Gwyneth Madsen was hired as part of the farm thing. Guy Hudson replaces Zach. So this is when things started to really change. Edward Roottrees no longer employed. Rafford Toons is now listed as office staff. Wait, Rafford Toons came in as part of Guy Hudson's term. Rafford Toons being Clark's thing. That's it. This is good to know. This is interesting to note, I think. Why was Rafford Toons brought in right when Guy was brought in? Beatrice Watts, Corinne Schwartz, Juliet Doris, Lisa Lewis, Valerie Thomas, Michael, Elizabeth Farrell, Emily, Sam, Robert Logan, William Sam, Susan Ford was hired. Here we go. So by this point, she was married to her husband. By this point, Susan was already married to her husband. She became aware of the school. Then she got the money to build the wing through a sexual relationship with the CEO that he probably initiated as part of like a, like a deal. Catherine Garrett, William Sams, Gwyneth Cattrall, 5 pieces, Susan Floyd. Susan Ford no longer works here. It's Madsen, Susan Ford no longer employed. It's Madsen, Douglas Jr., Lynn Garrett, Roottrees is a temp agency, and I need to search that as well. Stuart Todd. Okay, Stuart Todd. We don't have anything useful. How am I to find these kids' names? Is Their Life as a High School is a musical? Yeah. Okay, first off, let me write all of this down. Let's write all of this down. Guy Hubris. Susie had twins. Eldest with EpiPen. Eldest with allergy. Youngest with asthma. Presumably Susie is the last of Guy Hudson's 5 affairs due to the fact that the kids are just now in high school. So just now. Susie had twins. All the secretaries must be handpicked, so this is all very important. We do this, we do this. Because this gets us this information. So we know this, but Thomas Hughes is still an interesting angle. Is there Life After High School as a musical? It's quite obscure, only appearing in Broadway for about 17 performances after a preview period. Huh. Nowadays, it's mostly performed by smaller theater troupes, including high school drama clubs. You couldn't tell by now, a game designer by the name of Jeremy Johnson was in musical theater all 4 years of high school. Yeah, honestly, I feel you, Jeremy, because that experience stays with you. It forms so much of your life, and it's like you can't help but think in the theater mindset of learning all these silly things. Like, I don't want to know the lines to a play that I've never acted ever again in my life. I want to be able to know, like, this programming language that I want to know, but instead all that space is being taken up by a play. That's why I've been practicing the art of forgetting things. There's one song from it that somewhat surpassed the popularity of the rest of the musical called The Kid Inside. If you'd like to listen to it, I recommend Barry Manilow's version. If you've heard the song before, it's likely that cover. Is this a real song? It's a real song. The entire musical deals entirely with the traumas and nostalgia that society collectively shares about their formative years, which feels appropriately thematic for this game. That's true. I've always thought of it as somewhat ironic they have high school theater clubs perform it, though. That is also true because, like, high school kids are stupid. Like, when you're in high school, you lack so much understanding of the world that it's impossible for you to actually understand anything. And so it's like, because you don't know anything, and because you have no clue about what's going on, and because you have no clue about all the things that have happened, and you don't have any frame of reference, I'm curious if the emotional impact hits, but at the same time, it's like Cillian Murphy going, I'm an actor, trust me, and then he gets hired for Peaky Blinders, and it's like a top 10 out of 10 show, so, you know, like, there's a couple things here. How do I find Susan Ford's husband? Grandor School for the Deaf. Chef's signature, The Herald. Mon Music Monthly, News Time, Piketty, Silver Screen Magazine. Grandorf Dove. Grandorf Dove. Susan Ford. Is there a way to search this? Maybe this is a way to search it. Susan Ford. What did they call her? They called her specifically like a different title almost. They called her specifically a Miss Susie Ford. Grandorf School. Ford Sisters. Are they that special? Ford Sisters, that they have their own like name? Kind of like the Roottrees sisters? Grandorf School, Butler County. Local students provide key evidence. Where do we go from here? We need to get her husband's name somehow. But it may be that her husband's name isn't really important either. At least for now, we don't really know his name. So maybe we just continue on from this point onwards. And we say, okay, we have enough of what we've got. I just need to figure out what is her job. She must have been a CEO of some kind, but that didn't pop last time, so maybe it is a news anchor. She was a secretary, but now she's a housewife. Like, she was let go a long time ago. And she's retired. Really, her job should be old. Like, she should just be old. And she presumably doesn't do anything either. But maybe it's just the last job that we know of them. But she's retired, so what do you put as a retired woman? Do they really just become housewives again? Or how do I put her job as dead? Like, she's deceased. How do I put her job as deceased? But we know that this is probably accurate. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it should have popped by now. Because it pops when you get 4. Every 4, then it pops and it locks in, and then you know for sure that you're correct. But it didn't pop for me, which means I'm missing something very important. So instead, we go to work time temp. I mean, we follow the trail of dead people. See what this is. Work Time Temp is a company with many offices all over the United States. The Roottrees Candy Company is listed on the site as one of the companies they do business with, though it's far from the only one that you recognize. As far as you can tell, there's no connection between Work Time Temp and anyone related to your search. Well, how do you know that? How do you know that? Where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? If I was a real life detective, right? At this point, I'd sit on my chair, look out the window, like right here. I'd have like a very nice little like is it called the Ernest Hemingway chairs? I don't know what it's called. It's like those like really fancy chairs. I'd have a chair like that. I'd sit right here. I'd look out the window, pipe in my hand, coffee in my left, or like whiskey or something. And I just sort of contemplate as the snow is falling, because I live in Canada. So the snow is falling, and I contemplate sort of life, and I think to myself, is this it? Is this the end? And as I'm puffing, and I try to pass out of habit, but there's no one there to my left and my right, because my wife has left me. Because I spent all my days looking at photos on the wall, and she's like, honey, we have to pay bills. And I'm like, no, honey, wait. I need to find one more photo. And the whiskey is like dripping on the floor. It hits me. It hits me that it's not about finding answers. It's about finding pathways. It's not about finding the photo. It's about finding any thread that you can hang on to and pull for dear life. Because just like a thread in your shirt, you think to yourself, oh, there's a little thread in my shirt. Let me pull it and get it out of the way. And then you pull and you pull and you pull and you pull. Then all of a sudden, your shirt is like halfway undone. That's what being a detective is all about. Finding that one loose thread that you can pull until you finally find answers. We're gonna leave Guy Hudson. We're gonna move on to someone else. We ignore Guy Hudson. We move on to someone else. She gave us another piece of evidence called Mary Beth Clementine. We go here. Whoever Mary Beth Clementine is, she may have had an affair with Miracle Roottrees. Let's find out. You also had so much snow lately. That's crazy. Winter has finally cometh. Oh yeah, it's crazy because last year there was no snow, like at all. It was empty. This year we've had to close multiple times because of the snow, which I like. I am ready for the nuclear winter, and like I am ready for like the climate change winter. So, and I do like winter, both my wife and I. So we're fine with it, but. I just kind of forgot how to deal with the winter snow. And there's a lot to deal with the winter snow. Like, there's a surprising amount. How about we check out... And really, it's mainly about how much effort it is to maintain and upkeep and to fight against the snow, right? That's really the hard part, is dealing with the snow over a long period of time. There's an email. But... better than having a cold winter that just ends up being dark. Like, the worst part about winter is when you have, you know, like the early nighttime starts and no snow. So it's not even like fun to see snow falling in the darkness. All you see is a sad state of affairs where it's dark outside, it's cold and windy. And if it would have snowed, it instead rains because the heat was too high. That's the worst kind of winter. Mary Beth Clementine was a singer, most popular in the years between 1942 and 1959. She traveled around the country, performing at churches. Her repertoire was a mix of religious and popular songs, and although she recorded a few records, they seemed lost to time. The only one you find mentioned was a cover of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands, released under the label New Edison. Oh... No! New Edison. Can I search this label? New Edison. I need coffee. I'll be back. I'm gonna get some coffee. I feel like my brain, after going through that Guy Hudson almost super information dump and this like major theory tying everything together thread dump, has ruined me. I'll be right back in just a moment. The coffee might take like 5 minutes to make, so I'll play some ads too. When I'm back, we'll continue with this. I've had what detectives call an intuition, a revelation. What scientists call an epiphany, I call skill check. I passed the skill check. So I was thinking about this. I was thinking of the $20,000 thing. Okay, let's go back to the game. $20,000, and let's think about this tying it back into the stories that we know about of these characters. Okay, so let's say each flavor of candy has 10k, 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 right? So you look at these different flavors. So you look at strawberry, 10k, 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 and then you have sugar plum, which is 10k. Why? Because Susan. But why is it 20k specifically? Because twins. But why 20k? What does that imply? What's 2 divided by 1? That's... two. Wait. Wait, sorry. What's 2 divided by 2? That's a 1, right? So... sorry. Listen, I'm a detective. I'm not a mathematician, okay? I did say something about the, the intuition and stuff like that, epiphanies, alright? I'm a detective. I'm not a mathematician. My computer science background is weak. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. Why 2? Why is 2 divided by 2? 20k divided by 2. Why divided by 2? 2 children. Susie has twins, Heather and Melissa. This implies that the amount of money that he's paying is effectively child support, which I surmised, but I didn't really think too deeply about, what the amount means. I don't think it's because he likes it more. I thought it's because it implies how much he liked his relationship with Susie. I don't think this is true. This is directly a child support payment to the tune of 10k per child. Because this is Guy Hudson we're talking about. He doesn't give a shit about his kids. If he cared about them, he wouldn't have had so many of them. Therefore, it's just to pay them off to be quiet, 10k per kid. Susie 2, Strawberry 2, Shigwa 2, Butterscotch 2, Caviar 2. But think about this. Let's say Caviar stands for Christine, right? Just to add more evidence that this is true. Why is she getting 10k and not 20k? Well, do you remember the baking story? Remember how I said this is a story that is effectively telling how Christine and her husband got together? How her husband has one child and Christine had another? Well, that's because, and this is important, Christine had her child with Guy. Her husband had her child while he was at war somewhere else. So that's why she's only getting 10k. Guy Hudson is only responsible for his child. But then, why is the brother a part of it then? Like, what I think this is I need to think of this not as the Clancy Trust. I need to think of this more as who is actually a part of whose family. Like, this is a true genealogical tree. So, one of these kids belongs to Guy, one of these kids belongs to Steve, but both of these kids are the children of Christine and Steve. That's why they're under here, even though only one of them would get access to the Clancy Trust. So one of these gets access to the Clancy Trust, they get access, they get access, these both get access. That's what this game is going for. So my chart is 100% correct. I just need to figure out the roles of all these people and to name the husband. And her last name isn't Ford. I keep forgetting this. Women are objects for men to impose their lives on. Okay? This is very key in the context of the game. This is a time when women are nothing more than holders of last names and sperm. This is back in my day, women were just there for me to give them my last name and to fill them up with sperm, like a little Ziploc baggie. You know, I used to have a little Ziploc baggie filled with my sperm, and I used to bring that thing all over the place. But that's what this game is about, right? Which means her real name, we don't know what her real last name is. We have no clue what her real last name is. Could be anything. Whatever it is, it wasn't during this time. Because her Ford name came from her husband, which implies she was already married by roughly this time. Presumably, but this is assuming that she came over married. Which means we need to find information about her from before she was married. Listen, this is a whole different time, okay? I'm serious. Back then, women were just seen as like cum bags, like as like a cum rag. Like, you just cum in them, and then they take your name, and they'd stay at home, make food. And if they didn't make food, you would slap them. Like, that's how bad the world was back then, okay? Like, nowadays, we live in a good time, kind of. It's not really perfect yet, but still, we're getting better and better every generation, which I'm happy about. My wife deserves to be more than just a cum rag. That's a weird thing to say. Why did I say that? Let me pour my coffee. I haven't drank my coffee yet. That's why I'm saying some weird things. Let me just drink my giant-ass jar of coffee. Flavorless. Also tastes like instant coffee. So let's see. But I don't think we have any way to get her name yet. I bet you Susan's last name is gonna show up more naturally later on. The problem is that I don't think it'll come anytime soon. It's gonna be probably afterwards, when we start to go through more and more of the findings that we have, and more information about the school pops up, and more periodicals appear that we might even get access to what her name was initially. Because Butler County Times is not doing us good here, sadly. And it's weird too, because like you think it would work, like you think it would actually make sense, but no, it's the school itself doesn't say her last name. It just says Miss Ford, which is what she was before. Working at the school for 15 years, so 15 years ago from 1999 was 1984. So at 1984 is when she went, and she learned ASL probably beforehand to communicate with her husband and securing the funding for the thing. And then Grandorf, the thing, the founder, Grandorf Dove. Wait. Grandorf Dove. But this probably explains why we can't find anything on her. It's just sort of the way it works. Because I don't know if it's gonna work. So the Grandor School for the Deaf, Miss Ford has been looking thing. Hudson Wing actually might show up something. I don't know. Hudson Wing, donations, learned ASL. Hudson Wing, Hudson Cashew PC Nut OS. Thank you. I mean, this only shows this though. Business Watch, Jeff's Signature, The Herald, Bond Music Monthly, News Time. Surely there's a magazine for deaf people. They can still read. You know, it's like what the Illidan says. I'm blind, not deaf, but like opposite. Me to think about this. Me to think about this. How about we move on from her and we go back to the Mary Beth Clementine. I'm assuming Mary Beth Clementine may have more answers for us. First, a sip of coffee. The life of a detective, trying to figure out all these key pressing issues. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Let's see what Mary Beth is up to. Whatever she's up to probably is going to be just as good as anything else, because, again, she's a part of the miracle line, which is going to be a very, very interesting way of looking at things. Although I think I can just solve him right now. I'm pretty sure he's a lawyer or something. Ain't you a lawyer, buddy? Nope. Okay, well, for sure we can actually go through this. It's going to be a very interesting look into the miracle line of things, because the first game was very light on miracle, except for the fact that they were scam artists. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Let's go to tragedy, because what's the opposite of a miracle? A tragedy. Mary Beth Clementine was a singer most popular in the years between 1942... wait, we already read this, right? One thing Mary Beth was known for was her adoptions. What? She's listed on many sites that mention adoption and the history of adoption. She adopted 2 children in the late 1940s, Storyted Mark. Oh. Oh, right, I remember. Right. He mentioned that his mother was Stuart and that his mother was apparently, and then he was adopted. And I went on this tangent about how Miracle probably gave up the son because Miracle probably noticed how his family line was starting to become less and less into what he was into. Like, he was really into God, and his first son was into God, as was his first son's first son. But his second son was like, Dad, I'm into science now. And so it's the age-old sort of conflict between science and religion. And I will point out that the Dark Ages did happen, and there is precedent for religion unfortunately winning against science. So we'll see how this goes, but presumably this is what happened. And so he probably, my theory was that he gave up Clementine, Stuart, in order for him to become, because he didn't want him to be a little shit who believed in science. So he made him a musician instead, so he could stay poor the rest of his life. At least if you're science, you're rich, but if you're a thing, then you're poor. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. She also spoke as an advocate for the benefits of adoption in front of the United States Congress in 1949, who were then convening to debate and discuss the then recent first adoption of an African-American child to a white family in the United States. She was specifically there to detail her experience going through the system to adopt Stuart. Her other son was adopted later, and according to a single line on one adoption site, under unusual circumstances. Okay, that's interesting. So, actually, here, this is the thing, right? Stuart said that he thought that his mother was something involving miracle, right? This is all the information about Regina Clementine, née Salazar. Regina Clementine, née Salazar, from New Orleans, Louisiana, and her husband, Stuart Clementine. She wrote me about a month ago. Apparently, the Roottrees lawyers went after her since then. By the time I received her letter, her husband, who was a police officer, never knew his father, so police officer. This didn't pop, which is for a good reason. He's estranged from his family and didn't want to pursue it because he had no proof. She wrote to me behind his back. Normally wouldn't be so sure, but she has some pretty credible facts. Some of it I've been able to confirm. So its mother has been named Mary Beth Clementine. So he was adopted by Mary Beth, pretty well known singer in a lot of churches. She was very, very deep into the miracle church line. In Butler County a few times. They always seem to spend a lot of time there. Now, I'm thinking Stuart isn't the one, because think about it. They had a very normal adoption for Stuart and Mark, which is these two kids. So presumably, this is Mark and this is Stuart. Presumably, this is Mark and this is Stuart. So you have Mark over here, Stuart over here, you have Clementine over here, because we know who these are, and then we know who these, at least the name of who Stuart is, and presumably Mark is this one over here. We also have, I think there was wasn't there another photo? No. But their adoption seemed normal. The one that the article specifically mentions was weird was the adoption involving the unusual circumstances. Her other son was adopted later, and according to a single line on the one adoption site, under unusual circumstances. Right? So unusual circumstances, Stuart and Mark. She was an advocate for the benefits of adoption, but she was not the person who was adopting someone who was black. She was specifically adopting her two white kids, right? So this is sort of just talking about the case as it was back then, because this was around the time when things were starting to sort of change, right, within America. Which means that Mark is specifically the one who was adopted under unusual circumstances. She doesn't have 3 children, she has 2. And her other son in reference to the previous sentence, Stuart, means that it's Mark. Mark being this kid right here. So Stuart was probably a normal kid and was probably adopted under normal circumstances. Stuart was probably the one that came from the miracle line, given that he was unusual. That's a weird thing to say in any context. In 1959, it surfaced that Mary Beth had been twice divorced, both times to her manager Sterling. This ended her career with the religious audience she had been catering to. And while she performed occasionally then, she mostly faded into obscurity. Mary Beth passed away in 1994 at the age of 76 of a stroke. So, if we assume that this is not Stuart, and this actually should be Mark, we're looking at something like this. We don't know his job, we don't know anything about him, but presumably this is the much more accurate sort of statement to make compared to having Stuart there. Her being divorced, getting out of the church is an interesting line to have, because it means that, again, it's the hypocritical nature of the church. So let's see how it goes. But the problem, and again though, the reason why I think it's him and why it's unusual was because it's 2 people from the Roottrees family tree who were married and had this child. As in, Mark was probably thrown away as a child. So, let's see. Dead. Died 1994, age 76, of a stroke. Has based morals because she believes in human rights. Like, that's kind of base to have good human morals. You know what I mean? Adopted 2 children, Stuart and Mark, the latter of which was said to be under unusual circumstances. Okay, so this is the key, okay? Because nowadays, when you go to a news site like The Verge or CBC or something, you'll have the journalist quote the line, and then for some reason they have an extra like box underneath in a separate color way of like an info box that'll say the exact same quote twice. I don't know why more news sites are doing this, where you'll just read something and then it'll do a highlight of the thing that you just read, even though you just read the thing. It's like news sites are optimizing for the lowest common denominator Zoomer TikTok brain type of like Gooner brain person, right? Like slop brained, who is just skimming an article hoping to find something, never realizing that they wouldn't even go to news sites. They're basically getting their news from TikTok influencers. And so the entire experience is ruined. You don't get articles like Stuxnet anymore, okay? The senator career to the religious audience was twice divorced. Gasp, the harlot. Which made her unattractive, unfavorable, I don't know, which ruined her reputation amongst the goodly religious. I'm Canadian. I can make fun of them. He's got the whole world in his hands. Wait, he's got the whole world in his hands. Modern Music Monthly. Music. Mary Beth Clementine. Mary Beth Clementine was reviewed and advertised many times in Modern Music Monthly, but the most popular recording was the release of her cover, He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. So this is the article from Thing here. Most popular recording is He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. Probably he being God, his hands being God's hands, the world being Earth, his being his pronoun. Modern Music Monthly had a very positive review of her cover, and the writer complimented her voice and the tone of her guitar. The review had nothing to say about Mary Beth herself, so it's not much of a use to your investigation. What does that mean? That means nothing, yeah. There were also some other Mary Beth Clementine releases that appeared over the years. One was The Old Rugged Cross, which was the only song that was advertised but not reviewed. That's interesting. Mary Beth Clementine released The Old Rugged Cross for New Edison and was advertised quite a few times. When it was first reviewed by the magazine, however, it listed the artist as Mary Beth Quaker. What? The Old Rugged Cross is a popular hymn that has been covered by many artists. You won't find much relevant information about it. Wait, really? What does it sound like? Do you guys want to listen to a hymn? By the way, every time I hear hymn, I think of like Final Fantasy X, the way that they use the word hymn. And I think to myself, that game is really good. Let's listen to Alan Jackson. Alan Jackson, Old Rugged Cross. I'm just curious what this sounds like. This probably won't be inside the vlog because it'll be copyrighted. I don't know. Okay, well, it sounds cool. I'm gonna listen to it later, but at the same time, you know what it is? Sometimes some religious music does hit well for me because I have a religious background. In the sense of like, I grew up in a religious household. I'm no longer religious, but you know, it still hits me the same way. But I wonder if it's just like a psyop. Is it because I'm indoctrinated or because I actually enjoy it, right? It's fascinating to sort of look at that. And I've had a discussion about that with my coworker once, who also grew up very Christian. The Old Red Cross, but her name used to be Mary Beth Quaker. So was she a Quaker? Apparently the Quakers, you know, like Quaker Oats? Like Quakers are apparently people who belong to the Religious Society of Friends, which is, by the way, an amazing name for a religion, is you are the Religious Society of Friends. I'm gonna call my friend group the Religious Society of Friends. The Religious Society of Friends. Mary Beth Quaker, that's probably her original name. So this is post-divorce. So, real name, Mary Beth Quaker, married to and we know what his name is, the husband's name, because there's an article here that says specifically about her husband's name. Mary Beth Clementine. Twice divorced, fading into obscurity. She's listed on many sites. What is her husband's name? Sterling. Both times her manager Sterling. So, oh wait, divorced, married to a Sterling Clementine, which ruined. Interestingly, she was married and divorced both times to her husband Sterling. Well, I guess like birth name has another name. I guess it's better to say this is another name. Has another name, Mary Beth Quaker. Unsure if it's her name is that what it's called? The name, like the nay with the little accent, or her married name. But presumably that's how it is. So Sterling Clementine. So let's check out New Edison. I think that's going to be information there. New Edison was a small record label based in Los Angeles that existed for a few years in the 40s. It raced to release cover records of songs that were gaining popularity. So it's a cover. You know what this is? Before YouTube, these companies were like huge. These companies were the predecessor of the YouTube cover trend or genre. Like your I forget the Japanese term for the ones in Japan, but the ones in Japan where they do the covers, it's like their whole thing is they do covers and they get very popular off of their covers. They started because of companies like this. According to a website about the history of recorded sound, what? It was named after its founder, Sterling Edison. Sterling Edison. Wait a minute. Married to a Sterling Edison, who is her husband, named after founder Sterling Edison, presumably the same Sterling who is Mary Beth's manager. Also, that's crazy that they gave her two first names and they ruined her life. Its biggest claim to fame is being sued by the estate of Thomas Edison in Edison Records versus... what? The guy who made the light bulb? What? What do you mean Thomas Edison? The guy who made the light bulb? Or like the guy who stole the light bulb from someone else. You also find a few references to New Edison and Mary Beth Clementine on sites about old records. One collector says that the Holy Grail is a re-release of the old Rugged Cross, and says that the first edition was originally published before she legally changed her name. Okay, so before she legally changed her name, so this actually says that this is for sure her name. So if I take this, her original last name is Quaker. This is very important to have. So her original last name is Quaker. So we go. Married to a Sterling Edison. There we go. But we can't hear the songs, which is sad. Another site claims that the police had to be called to New Edison Records after its owner, Sterling Edison, got in a physical altercation in public, leading to a divorce. There are no cited sources or evidence, and the site's content seems user submitted. There's an email address at the bottom, and the phrase, "Send me your stories about old Hollywood," and I'll add them to the page. So, physical altercation in public leading to a divorce. Physical altercation in public leading to a divorce. This implies that he was physically abusive with Mary Beth, and that Sterling should have his balls chopped off. Okay, now what's this Edison Records thing versus Edsel? Edison Records was one of the first record labels named after Thomas Edison. Huh? Well, New Edison is different from Edison Records. Sorry, I was so confused. So Edison Records, the history of the company seems very unimportant except for potentially a lawsuit they filed in 1949. Edison Records versus Edsel. A website about lawsuits mentions that this is a fun case because the name of the lawsuit was actually the biggest problem for the person being sued. The record producer who called himself Edison was immediately outed as not actually being named Edison. What? Edsel was a German last name. At the time of the founding of the company, the US was at war with Germany. The company's founder immediately settled to try to get the case to go away, but the damage was done. So Sterling Edison is not actually his real name. This reveals that that Sterling's real name is Edsel, not Edison, because of how the war affected German people's perceptions, reputations in the U.S. because of how World War II affected German people's reputation in the U.S. Okay, so, you know, it happened a lot actually. Or you know, there's like the Japanese in the internment camps in Canada and the U.S. Wait, was it the U.S.? But for sure in Canada. And actually, there's a great book about this called Requiem. I forget the name of the book. Requiem, Japanese internment camp. It's like a fictional story, but it's a really good book. Requiem by Francis Etani. Really good book about what happens during that time period and then the internment camp and how that affected people throughout, you know, their entire life within Canada, and how much, you know, Japanese people had to give up and sort of like lose as part of their punishment. Well, not like punishment. Punishment is an interesting word to say because it implies that they did something wrong, but they were Canadian and they didn't do anything wrong. They weren't responsible for it. So it was a very, very interesting time period, let's say, for Canadian history. But I can draw parallels between that and what happens here, and in many ways I can draw parallels to any sort of group of people when sort of their ethical background, the homeland of their ethical background is responsible for something. People tend to sort of go towards the lowest common denominator of like, oh, blame the individuals for it, even though they themselves aren't necessarily responsible for it. Like, you probably know somebody who comes from a place that is currently doing some pretty bad stuff, right? We all probably know someone like that. But it doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they happen to be from that place, but they may have never actually been taken part of it. Even while they're there. Like, it's a very fascinating sort of problem to have, where this nuance is very hard to capture in your daily life, because at the moment, things are going bad, and you can't help but feel anger. You know what I mean? World War II was a crazy time, and many of these things are crazy times. But this is all useless information to know. None of this helps. None of this helps. Because nothing gets me any closer to what I need to know. We don't even have a Mary Beth on this, like, tree, because it'd be incest. You know what I mean? Unless it's a spouse, but I don't see a Mary Beth at all. Bethany? No. Bethany, Hudson, Wilson, Stephen, London, Mark, Eloise, Brenda, LaRue, Diamond, Elias, Catherine Wilkins. This doesn't help me with anything. Legitimately, this doesn't help me with anything. So if I look at Stuart Clementine, Clementine isn't that popular of a last name. You managed to find a Stuart Clementine listed as one of the many names on an emergency services website in New Orleans. It seems he's a police officer. What about Mark Clementine? Wow. Crocodile Clementine. What? Wait, what? Is listed on a website titled The Infamy List. It's a massive list of criminals who are known for odd names. Oh my god, what did Mark do? Although Mark's nickname would imply he hails from Florida, a lot of others on the list come from there, or Australia, Mark is listed as being from Los Angeles. He has a pretty big entry. He seems like he's a real piece of work. There's a very small note about him being the basket baby of 1950, but most everything else comes from his adulthood. Basket baby of 1950. Unusual circumstances when she adopted the kid. Holy shit. 1950. She spoke in front of Congress first in 1949, convening to discuss the recent adoption of an African-American child to a white family in the United States. She was specifically there to detail her experience going through the system to adopt Stuart. Her other son was adopted later, and to a single, according to a single line on one adoption site, under unusual circumstances. Late 1940s, 1950, basket baby of 1950. Mark was left on the doorstep of Mary Beth Clementine. Mark's criminal name. Basket Baby of 1950. I know we're skipping ahead really hard, but I need to figure this out. Real life baby Moses situation. Okay. I'm just gonna say, Mark was abandoned by miracle in a basket. Yeah. Go back, read this first, and then we'll go down this route. I want to see what his crimes were. He lost his job in 1975 as a pilot for a regional airline. After he tried to board the wrong airline's plane, he was drunk. That's really bad. Like, not only was he drunk and about to fly a plane, he also boarded the wrong plane, and so it was an attempted hijacking. So it's like double bad. In 1982, he was arrested for transporting smuggled animals over the Canadian and Mexican borders for an illegal reptile supplier in Los Angeles. This isn't helping the trade war discussions. This is not helping the trade war discussions here. This is more fuel to the fire. He was apparently quite successful for the first 4 years, but was caught when he had to make an emergency landing in Portland after he was bitten on the foot by a crocodile, hence the nickname. How did he still have a foot? And how did he... He's flying a plane. How did the crocodile bite his foot? What? That doesn't make sense. His mugshot from this incident has been added to your photos. In 1993, he was released on parole, but his freedom didn't last long. He was arrested in 1994 in San Diego for violating it in an attempt to visit his daughter's graduation. He famously punched the principal, a man named Billy Sims. This incident received national press. He's like a crime syndicate in a single body. He's like an entire crime syndicate in a single body. This guy is living a wild life. Basket baby. We'll learn about Simmons after, but I want to see this first. So, a few sites about true stories focused on and around religion mentioned that in 1950, a gospel singer named Mary once found herself dealing with a real-life baby Moses situation. Apparently, she was a rather prominent supporter of the concept of adoption, and someone decided to test how much. They left a baby on her doorstep in a basket. According to the sites, she adopted him without question and raised him as her own son. Although it wasn't national news, in many circles he became known as the basket baby, and he even went on tour with her as he grew up. None of the websites state who the woman or baby were, likely to prevent people from looking into either of the people too closely. From context, you would know that it's Mary Beth Clementine, who would later be shunned due to her personal life, and his son Mark, who would later be known as Crocodile Clementine. So, okay, he's the basket baby that we know about. That's why, like, he's the real baby. Wait, you know who he looks like? He looks very similar to somebody that we all know, actually. Very similar.
Look at this photograph.
Very similar look to him. Very similar. He actually looks almost the exact same, but with shorter hair. Multnomah County Corrections Division. Multnomah County Corrections. Multnomah County Corrections Division. Did I spell that correctly? Multnomah County Corrections Division. Okay, so there's no information there. But presumably, this is him. You found this mugshot online. It's Mike Clementine, who was arrested for smuggling reptiles into the United States. So he used to be a pilot. He lost his job. Now he's not a baby, that's for sure. He's a criminal. What's his last job? What do you do as a job for a criminal? Media mogul? Oh, I know. If he's a criminal, he's into politics. I don't know. I guess he used to be a pilot, sure. Now, this is the thing, right? When you're writing a news article about him, do you use the younger photo to garner sympathy? Or do you use the mugshot photo to garner reality, right? If you're a tabloid, like a shit rag tabloid that's being used to basically peddle shit opinions and just to make money, you would go for this. If you're an honest journalistic practice, you would go for this. How few are they now in this day and age? So far and few between. The world as we know it. So Mark Clementine, okay, so Billy Sims. What do you do to Billy Sims? Punched a man named Billy Sims. Mark was abandoned by Miracle in the Basket. Punched a man named Billy Sims. Billy Sims is the principal of Sandstone Canyon High School over something involving his daughter, who had his 15 minutes of fame in 1994 when he was punched by Crocodile Clementine at the graduation ceremony. Pretty much every news organization, from trustworthy to tabloid, seemed to have their own take on the altercation. That's how boring Sandstone Canyon was. Like, in Sandstone Canyon, if that even is a real place, nothing happens. So when somebody punched someone, like, small town news is so funny to me because there's nothing to report on. So when something like this happens, it's like it's the highlight of the entire county. And so the small town talks about it for weeks, if not months. It wasn't the punch that captures the nation's attention, however. It was Billy Sims' matter-of-fact response to the threat in his comments afterwards. It's heard in a now famous audio clip from someone who was recording the ceremony. Billy saw Mark hop into the graduation stage and said, "Sir, you'll want to sit down or we'll have a problem." At that point, Crocodile reportedly sucker-punched him in the face. Billy, apparently only slightly dazed, said, "Alright, sir, I guess we'll have a problem." Oh, that's actually so good. It's just like the "get your hands off my peanuts" guy, you know? Same deal. Clementine tried to throw another punch, but Sims anticipated it and performed a maneuver that spectators described as a wrestling move mixed with a backward somersault. Whoa! Wrestling move. Wait, he did the, you know, like the wrestling move where you grab someone and you like smash their head behind you. You know how suplex. He did a suplex, which immediately brought both men to the floor, with Sims straddling Clementine, keeping him neutralized. As security arrived, the recording captured someone asking, "How did you do that?" And Sims' response was famously, "Trust me, I'm as surprised as anyone." God, Billy Sims is so cool. But the thing is, why did he do that? Kind of a badass. Modern, old day Leon Kennedy, with how he suplexed Mark from behind, doesn't answer why he got punched in the face, though. Like, it doesn't answer anything. I wonder what happened. Because, remember, Mark wasn't there to cause problems. Well, like, it's not... He was there in an attempt to visit his daughter's graduation. But notably, this was when Mark tried to visit his daughter for her graduation. So presumably, something bad happened during that time. So Mark Crocodile Clementine. Crocodile. The Portland Telegraph. Wait. Yes! The Portland Telegraph is your run-of-the-mill newspaper based out of Portland, Oregon. They have a website with a lot of dry statistics about how many subscribers they have, the issues they have been, and of course they have won. We have had so many people from Portland. So many bits of information from Portland. Yes. Illegal reptile supplier, quite successful, landing the plane in Portland, San Diego for violating Billy Sims. Was there any information on her? Billy Sims, matter of fact, news organization, pretty much every news organization. Billy Sims, matter of fact. Sure, you'll want to sit down or we'll have a problem. We'll do Billy Sims in periodicals now, and then we'll also do this. So, Billy Sims. The Butler County Times did report on Billy Sims, but the information seems redundant with the basic information you find about the incident from the internet. Billy Sims. Hey! The Portland Telegraph had an article slightly longer than most about the Billy Sims incident. Mostly because the assaulter, Crocodile Clementine, had appeared in the paper before. Because the somewhat comedic sensationalization of the events in question. Because their readers were already familiar with Mark Clementine. They filed it under a special banner called Croc Watch. That's funny. The Croc Watch... it mentions our good friend Croc Clementine was actually in attendance at their high school graduation because his daughter was walking the stage. He was apparently not allowed to attend. His ex-wife had a restraining order filed on behalf of her daughter, but did so anyways. Oh my god. Wait. On behalf of her daughter. This is the thing. Why was it a restraining order from one spouse to another? That makes sense. But from the daughter to the parent? That implies something a lot worse. And that implies that it wasn't just an issue between the parents, which it usually never always just only is, but this issue sort of expands towards the child as well. We're looking at someone who's highly violent and dangerous towards everybody around him. But at the same time, we don't really know if that's true. That's interesting. Notes he had a restraining order filed against him for his daughter by his ex-wife. That is a very complicated, confusing sentence. Okay, it was unknown to the school, including staff, including Sims at the time, who he was, but a security guard recognized him, and that's when the trouble started. Clementine was approaching the side of the stage to try to avoid the guard when the exchange between him and Sims took place. The article finishes by facetiously asking, "What will Croc get up to next? Stay tuned for more Croc Watch." Unfortunately for investigation, as far as you can tell, there are no more instances of Croc Watch. The Croc Watch, in addition to being the name of an article you've already found in the Portland Telegraph, is apparently an as seen on TV product aimed at kids. It's a digital watch that looks like the head of a cartoony crocodile. It has numbers where the eyes of the head would be and teeth access buttons to switch between the different options, such as a stopwatch. It comes with a large illustrated book about crocodiles, other famous creatures. The advertisers focus heavily on the educational book in an attempt to make the otherwise cheap-seeming TMPs look like a good educational investment. Doesn't seem to be very popular and is definitely unrelated to research. That was useless. But now that we have this, Mark Clementine. The Portland Telegraph was the one that provided the nickname Crocodile Clementine. Now, some details about Crocodile Clementine's first major arrest. He was flying weekly between Los Angeles, Juarez, and Vancouver in a small plane. That's crazy. Do you know the distance that is? Holy shit. Okay, so Los Angeles, West Coast, Vancouver, West Coast, Juarez, somewhere around the two, right? And then he's basically traveling the entire West Coast in his plane from Canada and back. Holy moly. He was only caught because he was bit by a crocodile on the leg and had to call in a mayday because he was losing blood. He tried to tell him that he was a crop duster who somehow caught his leg on a loose piece of metal in the cockpit, but the story seemed very odd, and controllers quickly alerted the police without informing him. When he landed, they were waiting and he was promptly arrested. This didn't tell us anything. This was nothing. About the County Times of Mark Clementine. The basket baby. Billy Sims. News Time did a small piece about the fight between Crocodile and Sims. That's interesting. So they actually did a piece on this too, which makes sense because it is like a rag tabloid, right? So, but tried to approach it from a different perspective. Their goal was to paint the picture of the two men involved from others who knew them best. This is good. Not only did they manage to interview Sims' wife Carla, as well as multiple staff members at the school, but they hunted down Colleen Webb, Mark's ex-wife. His ex-wife. There we go. According to a section with Colleen, she and he met when he worked for an airline. She worked at an airport newsstand. He was a drinker, would often have wild mood swings. When he was charged with assault of a fellow pilot in 1975 and lost his job, they divorced. At the time, she was pregnant with their second daughter that she felt she needed to get out before things got worse. She left him and moved to San Diego to live with her sister and told her oldest that her dad had to fly planes for the army. She raised them both by herself, and although she never went through the trouble of changing their names legally, they used the Webb name so that nobody would connect them to her ex-husband. Colleen Webb versus Colleen Clementine. Interesting. Interesting. So if I search up Colleen Webb, fellow pilot, San Diego. Colleen Webb. Colleen Clementine. I mean, we can just search up Colleen Webb anywhere, right? So Colleen Webb. Colleen. In a weird way, this doesn't tell us anything about the basket baby. Yeah, this hasn't told us anything. This hasn't told us anything about the basket baby. We've only really just been dancing around the issue of the basket baby. But it makes sense though. Like everything just makes sense. If we look at his mugshot again, timing-wise, this should work. So why hasn't a single person popped? Why does nobody want to pop? What happened to the photo? Oh. Why doesn't a single person pop? What the hell am I missing? Oh wait, you know what? This doesn't make any sense. Family tree update 1998, and he'd be too old. Miracle is over here. If I do Miracle Root Tree over here, sorry, that was just stupid of me. Creature, I do Laius, and I look at Mark Clementine. Well, Mark Clementine over here. This is probably a better fit. Unemployed, criminal, pilot. And then Colleen Webb. The problem is that he had one child, so we know that he had a child here. And then this was Mary Beth Waker. Her musician. Yeah, because 1998 is like 1 year before the current time in the game, so it wouldn't make sense timeline-wise. Wait! Miracle, you hypocrite? I also forgot, because Guy Hudson is significantly younger than Miracle. Wait, no. Is that true? I don't know. I'm lost on the relativity of their ages, because Miracle was the youngest of the first 5 pieces, so it's very complicated. But we got Joanna, cashier, we got Quaker, we got all of them. Hello! Hey, how's your day being, Clark?
Sam reached out to me finally. I think I have you to thank for that one.
You and the rest of the Roottree family don't have any etiquette involving my door. You open it up, you don't even ask me how my day was, you just say, hey, thanks for doing the job. I have feelings too, man! If you ever become a CEO, chat, and you don't say thank you to your employees, like you don't pat them on the back or like suck their dick for them, okay, then you're the problem.
My family's in a bit of a rough patch. Even though the candy is selling better than ever, everyone is fighting over the trust.
Sorry, I just forget that this is a candy company. There's something funny about the fact that this is all happening to like a Willy Wonka family. Like imagine, you know, imagine you watch Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, and like the first two-thirds of the book is Willy Wonka introducing his entire family and like the backgrounds of his family, and then the final 1/3 is an all-out corporate war involving like multiple different gangs in the city, like assassinating various members of the family in order to make it so that every piece of candy they sell, it's more cents on the dollar to the existing members. It's like a Sopranos and Charlie in the Chocolate Factory had a baby, and then it was stripped for PG-13, so there's no violence. Only sex.
The majority of us want to dissolve it. On paper, it seems like the right decision.
That's crazy. No, you can't do that. No, stop. Clark, I'm telling you right now. I have all of Sam Madsen's shares. Pay me, damn it.
The arguments about what to do next are endless and heated. More than a few Roottrees are worried about losing their wealth.
I'm worried about losing my wealth. You guys didn't pay me money.
I don't think we deserve it more than anyone else.
Yeah, no, you don't deserve it. Give it to me.
I love my family, my wife, my daughters, even my son, who I hardly ever get to see.
Yeah, you do love your wives, your multiple wives.
I want to keep them safe and secure, but I didn't do anything to deserve this fortune.
That's an interesting point, actually. I wonder how many rich kids think about this. The fact that they didn't really do anything to deserve their fortune. Like, there has to be some angle of, like, you know, somebody in their family, you know, whether through all luck or all hard work, that's probably always going to be a mixture of the two, and it's probably always going to be weighted towards luck. But still, there was some effort put in to get to that point, right? And so the future generations have done nothing. And so it's like, that must sting in some way to realize that everything that you have is the result of nothing of your own, and to realize that you're an abject failure.
Hell, I probably deserve it less than most. It took me way too long to get my life together.
That's true. Give the money to 5Ps. Give half to 5Ps, half to me.
Okay, enough about me. Here's the deal. I can't stop the majority from voting one way or another.
I can't stop.
If you keep passing along potential Roottrees, I'll keep adding them to the list. On the other hand, there's been some leaps forward in genetics.
Do we get to do DNA testing?
It may sound like science fiction, but we can actually determine who's in the family just by testing their DNA.
Okay, cool. So this is when the game becomes like a Splinter Cell game, right? Where I don my suit and I have to like climb on pipes and stuff and like under vents to get into someone's home to collect their hair or their semen. Like, Mark Clementine is asleep. I jerk him off as he's sleeping to collect his semen. I bring it back to the DNA testing and they go, "Oh, you didn't really need to do that. We just needed his like hair." And I go, "Oh," and it's too late. I'm really covered in cum.
What you've done so far has been very useful. Just keep filling out the tree and we'll prepare for the tests.
Yay. Well, that was a good session. All right, we got some good names going. Yeah, so it was just the wrong place. So, who is this? I wonder who's going to result in the update to the tree. I wonder where all of this is going to go. I can't believe I could not get a single one of these correct, even though all of these feel like they're so close. Sonia Suarez, what do you do? Like, what do you actually do? I don't know what she does. I don't know what she does. I don't know what these two women do. So clearly, I'm wrong. But you see how it didn't pop, even though I should have had 4? If I get these correct, if I get, for instance, these two correct and these two correct, I can automatically pop again and again and again. I can just keep on popping. I just pop left and right? Left, right, and center, just keep popping. Also, I'm going to need to write back to the family who wrote me. I'm going to need to write back to Regina Clementine and tell her, "Hello, nice to speak to you. Sorry, but your husband isn't entitled to any money at all because he is not actually a Roottree, and so therefore our contract is void. Please have a nice day. I hope you saved up some money. If you didn't, then now you're poor, under the poverty line, in America, in a place that treats poor people like animals." That's it for the Roottrees of Dead. We had a good session. I think we got a lot of information going. And actually, I was gonna play Fly Night, but I have to go. So my buddy's flying over to go on a cruise or something. They're just to hang out. But they're going on vacation, and we're gonna hang out with them tonight. So I have to leave early to prepare. Like, not as in to like go, but like to play games online. Also, my other buddy wanted to play Monster Hunter Worlds before we go into Monster Hunter Wild. So, yeah, that's all we can do for the Roottrees or Wild. That's all we can really do for it today. This game, really good. If you're watching by this point and you haven't played it for yourself, it's too late. But if you play it for yourself, you still can get answers around here, okay? But let me tell you something. You will never, ever make the leaps in logic that I do, because something's wrong with me.